Isaiah Asher. All right, everybody. Good morning. Today is Friday, April 17th, 2026. My name is Robb Carter. Welcome to the future. #1 podcast in America. What's going on, my friend?
Right. Good morning, sir. Good morning. Ready to rock and roll. Having technical difficulties this morning, but we got through it.
That was
Friday,
probably, that might have been user error, if you understand what I'm saying. Give it just a couple minutes, let people start to gather in. Got a lot to talk about today. There's so many stories. It's like, you go to, as I get done with the show, I start going through all the different things we could talk about. And I want to stay relatively consistent and not get off into outer space. But I had this guy reaching out to me from the flat, or people reaching out to me to get this guy. I guess his name is Flat Earth Dave.
Okay.
On the show to talk about whether you're flat or not. I'm up for anything, but I just think it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, with
702.
all the other conspiracy theories that have become true, I've heard on the internet on X, like, well, where are the flat earthers now, right? Are they right? You know?
I know. You just go on and on with things that could potentially be happening.
Man.
But I'm interested in the conversation. I really would like to talk to this guy. He's got like 60,000 followers on X, so people are paying attention to him. Is the Earth flat? Would that be something?
Yeah.
How can you prove that the Earth is flat? How could you ever prove it?
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know how you can prove anything anymore.
Yeah,
I mean, go up into space and look at it for ourselves.
Yeah, with Elon or Jeff Bezos or Richard Branson, their airplanes or their rockets that they were putting people on, and maybe one day we'll all be able to go up
that
there.
Looks so fake though when they came back down, right? Everything looks fake.
The Blue Origin thing with Katy Perry and everything you're saying? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That looks so fake. And then Tim Burchett made a comment about it. Just I got a clip of it today where he says everything that you see about going outer space is done in an LA studio, in a Hollywood studio. It seemed like he was kind of joking, but who knows anymore.
Yeah.
Then we'll have Elad Gross. Elad Gross ran for Attorney General in Missouri. I always say he's one of my favorite Democrats because he's willing to come in and bounce around. He made commentary last night about the Missouri tax bill that they voted on in the middle of the night. And he wants to talk about that. I'm going to ask him about AI data centers. A sharp guy, so I'm interested to hear from him. Elad Gross at 10:30 if you're into Missouri politics. Like I said, Democrat candidate for Attorney General. Going to talk a little bit today, just kind of set this up. I got to tell you a story real fast. I don't know if I talked to you. I was telling other people in my life this morning. I was flipping through it, and I can't even tell you how I found it. And I'm flipping through all of the messages that I received when I was at the radio station and podcasting. And I had like over 1,000 messages pop up that I'd had on Facebook Messenger, just scrolling through it for like 5 minutes. I never saw them. So it didn't come to me. I don't know. Maybe these people were not friends of mine. So when they were trying to reach out to me, it went into a special spot.
No, it's the Facebook, Facebook, they do something new every day. That's what I always said when I was working in digital marketing, because I would, run ads and then they would change something and I have to change something within the ad because they changed something about their algorithm or something. And they actually have a separate messenger app now. And so that's the problem that people have, is that Facebook messages used to actually be on Facebook, but now you have to have a separate app just to access your messages. And so
I think they kept all the good messages from me.
Yes.
There was messages from people that said they were in my family that were living all over the country. Are you so-and-so son? I think your uncle. I recognize this kind of stuff. So I got a few of those.
You're Jimmy's cousin, right?
Right. I guess Carter. Right? So I got people that were trying to reach out to me that were in family, I guess, that think that I didn't respond to them, which is a little unsettling because that would be not very nice. And then I had people giving me all kinds of information from inside the system. People telling me, "Hey, you're right about this. I was married to this person. I work in the corrections office. I work in this person's office and that person's office." I don't want to give too much away because I told you, I think a lot of them wanted me to be discreet about it. They said, "I have information for you if you want to know. I know a lot about this, 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 and this," and they were just pouring in all the way back to 2024.
Oh my gosh!
I only got through maybe 25 of them. Like I got to prepare.
This is a divine appointment for you to find all those messages, so
that
we can get all those people on the show.
I reached out to maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 of them this morning and said, "Listen, here's my number. Give me a call, text me, and we'll hash this out," because some of the information was juicy, to say the least.
Yeah. I'm
true.
sure.
When they have information, boy, this is going to be fun.
Donna wants to get Eric Schmidt on. It looks like that would be amazing. Definitely want to hear from him.
I cannot imagine that Eric Schmidt would come on with me.
I can't imagine either.
I just don't see that kind of, what I found out about the Republican Party, and I assume it's this way in the Democrat Party. If you ask them questions on a particular topic, if I call up any senator in the state of Missouri and I say, I want to talk about, your position on this bill or your position on this, generally speaking, they'll give you an interview. If you say, "Hey, listen, I want to have an open discussion about what's going on in Missouri, the rules, and I want to talk about this, I want to talk about that." The only there's 3 that will have that conversation with me. But the big players, the Josh Hawleys, the Eric Schmidt, I don't think they want to have anything to do with me. And I've been watching what's going on at my former station that it's opened up on the other station. So they got they had the Attorney General on the other day. And they had this woman, her name is Heather Overstreet. She's kind of I had her on the show once before. She's a social media influencer. She used to be a Democrat. Now she's a Republican, and she's explaining to people about I just thought it was cute yesterday. She's explaining to people how the Republicans are not trying to get over on you on this bill that they have coming on. Ultimately maybe true.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she doesn't know for sure. And she was trying to sell it yesterday. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. She's been on the air for 2 days. She has an interview with Mike Keogh, the governor of Missouri, because she's a 24-year-old social media influencer, 24. I don't know how old she is.
Yep.
And I just think, man, you talk about getting deceived very quick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Getting deceived very quickly, and then you have to hold on to these points of view, or you look silly.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens over there, but it appears that they were right about me, right? Because that was kind of that was what the station was having problems with, was they could not get interviews, a lot of interviews from the Republican Party, because I was critical of it. Therefore, nobody wanted to come on and challenge me. They just didn't want me on there so that I could spew my problems with the Republican Party.
I thought we liked debate. I thought that's the public discourse, the public debate. That's what we're about in America.
They love debate. They love debate so much they won't have it.
Before we go any further and we get into any headlines, just want to people are already asking how they can support the show and what they can do. So
go for it.
They do. So one thing you can do right now is you can like the show, whatever you're watching on. If you're watching on X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, maybe you're listening later on Spotify, like the episode. You can also share it on your own platform. So share it on Facebook. You can't share it on YouTube, but you can share it on X, and you can repost on Rumble as well to your own user or to your own channel. So that's one of the best ways, because that'll help us reach more people. And then monetarily, how you can support us, you can support the People's Lobby
Mo.
peopleslobbymo.org. If you go there,
.com.
Right. You can go to, I was thinking about Act for Mo.
I know.
peopleslobbymo.com, and you can donate to People's Lobby. And that is how you can support the Robb Carter Show, because they're the premier sponsor for the show.
And then we had 3 advertisers reach out yesterday. I haven't had a chance to call, or 2 days ago. I don't even know when it was. I haven't had a chance to call anybody back. But, it's just without begging for money, because I don't want to get into that.
Of course.
It makes me feel very uncomfortable. I don't even like asking to borrow money.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, if you want the message to spread, if you want to get things done, you're not going to get things done with inside the system. That's just my opinion. If you've watched it long enough, I would be curious to see how many people that have been paying attention to the system in Missouri or in DC that thinks they can actually get things done by working from within the system. You're going to have to pressure the system from outside and force the people within the system to comply to your wishes, and that just means good governance. That doesn't mean Democrat or Republican ideology. It just means they're not going to get over on you. They're not going to create all of these proxy organizations that supposedly work with the Democrats and the Republicans to work for grassroots organizations. They don't. They don't. There's a few of them, you know the ones that I like, and if you are involved with the other ones, more power to you. But you're basically just fueling the engine of the establishment in the state of Missouri, in my opinion. But I'll let everybody figure that on their own. I don't want to besmirch anybody's reputation, but I've been at it long enough to be able to recognize what's happening here. I want to bring up Jeff Winehouse too. So Jeff Winehouse, they were reaching out. People that were supportive of Jeff Winehouse were reaching out to me. I never even saw these until this morning.
Wow.
So Jeff Winehouse, and this will be something you might be able to ask some questions about, because you're out there in Franklin County. But Jeff Winehouse, for people that don't know, it's a story that I want to cover. I'll be talking to Jeff tonight from prison. He is somebody that was an independent journalist, just to show you how dangerous it can be to be an independent journalist and call out power. If you call out power, they don't like it if they don't have an answer. If they have an answer, they'll be fine. But if they don't have an answer, now you're in trouble if you start to press them. So what Jeff Winehouse was doing is he thought there was some shenanigans going on out in Franklin County and the surrounding area. And he's called the Bulletin Man. And we're going to play that video probably sometime next week. After I talk to him, we'll figure that out. But somebody made a documentary about it. It was an hour long. They sent it to me. I was fascinated by it. So Jeff Winehouse, as an independent journalist, was going after some very powerful people out in your neck of the woods, Isaiah. And they took his equipment from him. They came to his home, right? They were going to talk to him, supposedly. They come to his home, and they say they smell marijuana, which he claims was not happening. Who knows? But he says it was not happening. They got a warrant right away to go in and search his home. They go in, they search his home, and they take his computers and his phones and everything away from him. Well, he's an independent reporter, so now you're taking away his ability to survive in life, right?
Yep.
So this goes on for a couple, 3 weeks. They've got his stuff from him. They got a warrant to search his house because they said they smelled marijuana. You can imagine this going down. So they take his stuff away from him, and then the officer that he was having the trouble with calls him, and he records everything. This is all recorded, all on video, and says that he wants to meet him at this filling station that was, I guess, in the middle of nowhere. He shows up and he videotapes the whole thing. That is what is so insane about all of this. He's videoing the entire situation. He steps out of the car, and within like 8 to 10 seconds, 2 officers take shots at him. Only one hits him, but they shoot him twice in the chest, twice in the forehead. He prays as he's driving there to protect him because he feels like something bad is about to happen, right? So he gets there, he gets shot twice in the forehead, twice in the chest. He ends up in prison for 30 years. He ends up in prison for 30 years for shooting at the cop, which never happened. They claim
Even
that
FBI agents testified that it didn't happen.
That's correct. That's what I believe is the truth, right? That's right. And then he says they claim that he went for his gun. Well, then in the testimony, even from the cops that were involved, when he goes for his gun, it would be from a holster that you take 2 hands to get it out. So clearly he was not trying to hurt somebody. I see Levi, his son, is in there. Yep. Levi, we're going to have you on. So, Levi, your message, you're one of them. He sent me a message. I just saw it for the first time today. I said, Levi, I'm just seeing this. So
amazing.
I want to get your father out of prison. We're going to do everything we can to figure out what's going on with this story. But I appreciate you joining the show.
Yeah.
And he ends up in prison. I start talking to him. He's a very faithful guy. He's a quirky kind of guy. He really is. He's a quirky guy. Highly intelligent. You can tell from talking to him. And most
intelligent people are quirky.
Yeah. Well, you certainly can be a little bit misunderstood. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think what he was doing, if I'm just looking at it from the outside, and he's never really said this to me, but I watched all of his videos and I watched what he was doing. He believes in the Constitution. He's like me. He believes that you're supposed to have constitutional protections against power. So the reason he's in trouble, I believe, was that number one, he was going after some very powerful people in that area, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
He was exposing them. He was challenging them. You could say that he was threatening them, but that's all in the eye of the beholder. Apparently, the FBI said he did nothing wrong, right?
Yep.
So let's just recognize that. And I think he was testing his First Amendment rights and Second Amendment rights, because when he shows up, he's got a gun on his hip. And in the video, you hear the officer say, Jeff, why do you have the gun? And he says, why do you have the gun? He said, I'm a police officer, whatever he says. And Jeff goes, I have every right to this. And then you hear him say, they say that he said, you're going to have to shoot me, and went for his gun.
Yeah.
He said, don't shoot me.
Yeah.
You don't have to shoot me.
You don't have to shoot me. Yeah.
You don't have to shoot me. Right.
It's hard. And you can't make it out in the audio. That's one of the
but if he didn't, if he can't get the gun out of the holster unless he has 2 hands on it,
I know
he's got 1 hand holding the camera.
That's
and then they show the gun on the ground as though it was out on the ground. I'm like, well,
the thing is that it's a spy wristwatch that's recording everything. And so you can see, I think we would be able to see, because I think it was on his right hip, if I'm remembering right.
Yes, because he said I forget what hip it was on. He said the reason it was on the opposite. No, it was on his left.
It's on his left because he had to use the 2.
He said he had it on that side because the seatbelt.
That's right.
When he was putting the seatbelt in the car, it would hit the gun.
And so you would be able to see the camera because it was on his left hand, from what I can see in the video.
Yep.
It would have gone down like this. I never saw that. The hand down like this. I see it up kind of like this the whole time.
Well, and then just
because you see him get out of the car, and he's waving, and he's like this, and doesn't ever go down like this. That's just what I noticed.
It's one of the most unbelievable stories that I've ever been involved with, and the documentary is so fantastic. I've been talking to people that know him, and I'll just say to everybody out in Franklin County, this is one of your own. You got to. I love Franklin County. I'll be doing a live show from Moe's Pizza on Cinco de Mayo.
Yep.
This is your neck of the woods, everybody. If one of your people that is in your town is in prison unjustly, which I believe is the case. I know that he's had a lot of people in very powerful positions agree with that particular statement. You guys got to make your voices heard. You just can't allow it, because what if it's you? What happens when it's you? You want everybody to just go, well, it's too bad, so sad. He shouldn't have been trying to fight for constitutional freedoms, and I guess we'll just let him suffer in prison. I don't see that as the answer. I think the answer is you challenge authority. You find out what's going on here. As I understand it from him and the people close to him, he is in prison for taking a shot at a police officer. That never happened. He's in the 13th year of a 30-year sentence, and I want to bring that to people.
Where's like the ballistics review of his weapon, and when can't you tell?
He had no money. He had no money for an attorney. Yeah, he had no money for an attorney. I think he spent $7,000 on his defense, and
my goodness,
I think they had some kind of device on him to where they could shock him and hurt him if he spoke up at trial or if he acted up. This kind of thing. They made him out to be an insane person. And listen. I don't know Jeffrey Winehouse from before. I don't know exactly what was going on there. All I know for certain is he did not take a shot because I can watch the video.
Yep.
And I know that 2 officers and FBI agents, and all he did was question power. That's it.
Yep.
That's what he did.
Yep.
He was challenging power, and he made one video that I think made him crazy. There was one video where he, it feels threatening to me, but he says the FBI said it was within his constitutional rights to say what he said. He has no history of violence that I'm aware of. Nobody in his circles say that he's got any violence going on in his life. So put it this way, he should be out of prison.
Yep.
Right. If all he did was make a threat because he believed the government was corrupt, which I mean, at this point is kind of laughable. Of course it is. Then at some point, 13 years is enough and he should be out of prison. And I think the people of Franklin County should rally around that. I got to get my free Jeff Winehouse t-shirts up and running.
If he was in today's era, I feel like what would have happened, what the prosecution would have never been able to prosecute him because
if he had money for an attorney, if he had real money.
Well, now cell phones, there's so many Second Amendment auditors that I watch from around the country. In Florida, for example, where you're at, there was no open carry for a long time. But if you were walking to go fishing, you were allowed to open carry. And there was like all these, subsections and things like that. And so Second Amendment auditors would test their rights, and they'd go fishing and they'd carry a gun, and there'd be officers that stopped them. And the officers sometimes would get lawsuits, and police departments would get sued because they're violating Second Amendment rights. But it's because these guys have 6 cameras on them. They got the 360 camera, they got body cameras, they're recording with their cell phones. Very different than when Bulletin Man was kind of paving the way for what we see now. And so,
when I say quirky, he was ahead of his time.
Exactly.
He was ahead of his time because he was not really interested in being on local television networks and, the big affiliate. That was not his interest. His interest was, I think he's one of these guys that doesn't really care too terribly much about money. I just don't think that's his thing.
Yeah.
And he wanted to get the truth out to people. He saw injustices happening. He wanted to challenge those injustices. And now we see where he's at. But now, as I say all the time on this show, there has to be more of what we're doing. There has to be more independent journalism, not sensationalism. Not where you go out and you're just trying to get clicks and you're making up stories about aliens and this and that and the other. And you know what I mean? To where people just do not know. You can have those conversations. They're very interesting, right? But you have to just be a journalist. You have to say, okay, well, I can't dig into every case and spend 40 hours a week on it because I got 95,000 cases that I'm trying to get through. But what I can do is say, I know the basics of this case. Where is my government to answer these questions for me? Just answer these questions, make this make sense for us, and then we'll go away. But if you can't make sense of it, as I used to say on my show all the time, Isaiah, if it doesn't make sense, it really does make sense.
Yeah.
It just means that they're expecting you not to do anything about it. That's how it ultimately makes sense. So we are going to stay on the Jeffrey Winehouse case. I'm very interested in it. Like I said, I'll be talking to him tonight, and we're going to talk about that later next week. I think one of the days next week we'll put the entire documentary. We'll just play it. So maybe we'll do the first 2 hours and play, or maybe we'll do the first hour and a half, play it, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. We'll probably have some form.
We can even pause it and discuss in the midst of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think what I ultimately want to do is have a live showing. So we'll play that documentary. We'll invite the audience from Franklin County and the surrounding areas to see it. People that know him, people that were involved in maybe the sheriff's office at the time, maybe people within the police department, what have you, political leaders. Maybe they can explain to us what's going on.
Maybe some lawyers will want to come.
Maybe lawyers that want to come. I want to see if there's fear. This is why I asked. Yeah. I think there might be fear within some of these people, and they don't want to touch it. I got this information to Senator Ben Brown, who's in the area. I sent him the video. We'll see what Ben has to say. I just challenged him again. I said, hey, Ben, did you see this video? What is your take on it? I sense that there's fear. I don't know that. But I've had several people told me not to touch it. I'm like, not touch it. Is everybody going to be afraid?
Well, Josh Hawley's involved, isn't he?
Yeah, Josh Hawley. He thinks some very powerful people were behind it. And I just don't think we should always be fearful of our government. I think that the government, for the most part, I do believe that most of them are good people. I think they have families and children, and they want to do the right thing. And I think there's a lot of fear in touching certain subjects. And I just don't think it should be that way in America. We march on. Hopefully everybody begins to get what we like to say cojones just a little bit and take care of business and just say, listen, if we're in fear and we're always moving backwards, when you're moving backwards, eventually you're going to stumble and fall. When you're moving forward, because your right as a citizen is to get answers from your politicians, moving forward is a better stance than moving backwards, in my opinion. But we'll see how it all plays out. All right. What else do I got today? Oh, I just real quick on MMTLP.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of you this morning, so I was able to put something out on social media. If you didn't get to hear the MMTLP story, This is a stock situation where 65,000 people, and I don't leave stories until I get to the bottom of them. If it takes me to the rest of my life to get to the bottom of these stories, that's how I am. I just don't like to give up. My father made it very clear that I don't give up. I made that very clear to my son. We don't give up. We just keep rolling. Wherever it takes us, we keep rolling. But the MMTLP story has two sides of it. There's a side that says the CEOs basically ran a scam on the investors, and they want to get after the CEOs. And the other side says, no, this was a collaboration between the regulatory bodies and the brokers and the hedge funds, and they want some transparency as to what happened, so they can get the aggregated share count to find out whether naked short selling was driving down the stock, this type of thing. So I believe we're going to have a debate here before too terribly long. I have somebody that says they want the debate on the side that says the CEOs were the problem.
Yep.
Then on the other side, I call it the MMTLP army. And that is the side that I am in line with right now. I respect these people. I'm fascinated by how they've been able to stick together for this long, because, most people just give up. Their 3.5 years of making a name for themselves.
They built a community, really.
They built a community. And so I want to hear both sides of this. Somebody from that community said they were upset with me that I was giving a voice to the other side. And I would just say, you're never going to like me if that's your case. I believe that debate is the fundamental, that is fundamental to freedom. Absolutely. And if you put your best person forward, if the MMTL community says, I want this person to represent us, and the other side says, this is the person we want to represent us, and we have that conversation, then the winner is going to change the perception of the people listening, and you can build and build and build and build, because people have more of an understanding. If you're somebody that does not like debate, does not like to bring in the other side, odds are you're not going to like my show. I try to be as fair as I can. I give you my opinions. I'm a conservative with a libertarian streak. Whenever there's something that I think the government should get out of the way of, I say, listen, I might be conservative, but I don't think this is fair. You got to get out of the way here and let people govern themselves. Let Jesus decide what's going to happen with their lives, but get out of my way. That's the way I see it.
That's where I find myself most of the time as well.
Yeah, right. I'm a conservative, but I'm a libertarian too. I don't think that just because I believe these things that everybody has to be, my opinion has to be shoved down their throat. I just don't see the world through that lens. And then today, there's a couple things we're going to talk about, and then I might let you decide where we go first.
Okay.
All right. So Catherine Austin Fitts is one of my favorite people on social media. Okay. She is somebody that was in the G.H.W. Bush administration. I think she was in HUD.
Daddy Bush, you call him, right?
Daddy Bush, I like to call him. Yep. She was in his administration. She began to recognize there was a ton of fraud going on because she has a very impressive financial background. She worked for Dillon Reed, one of the largest investment banks in all of America, out of Pennsylvania. She was the first female, I think, president of that bank. So she understands the economy and she understands money. She has just tearing apart the Trump administration. She says that it's the danger and the malfeasance is unrecognizable to her. And that ultimately what they're trying to do is keep conservatives and Trump MAGA people at bay as they put in a control grid, as she calls it. She says the digital money system, along with the nonstop surveillance system, is going to make it to where the people that you don't like, the people that are starting wars all over the world, the people that are trafficking children, the people that left our borders wide open, the people that took over the media, the people that did all of these things. I could make that list for 20 minutes, but I've done it so many times. People, they're like, all right, we got it.
We got to get the scroll. I
can scroll it out of my mind, all of the things that don't make any sense, the aliens, the whole thing. The people that are doing that to you, that are defrauding you and trying to manipulate your mind, those people are going to have a system that you can't get out of. Now, you look at it and go, well, that's America. There's no way they could do that. Well, you have drones from the sky that can be run by the government that can just shoot out of the sky that you could do nothing about, right?
And here in St. Louis now, the Missouri Highway Patrol has drones tracking people's speed and then delivering those results to police officers that are down the road.
There you go. Well, it used to happen. Yep. When I was going to school one time, I was in college, I was driving down Highway 270, and all of a sudden a cop, I see him out in front of me on the side of the road. As I pass him, he turns on his lights, and I look down, I'm like, I'm only doing 60. What's this? But I was doing like 70, right? 73. So he pulls me over and he gives me a ticket. I said, ticket for what? And he pointed up and he said, the helicopters back in those days used to chase you down the street, ping you, and then you get a ticket. But anyway, she believes that we're in danger. And yesterday when we had Andrew Mueller on the show, I said, well, one of the things that I may disagree with everybody else is I don't really think that this is going to be a shut the door, we're trapped. I think this is more of a drip, 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 drip situation. And he said, no. no, the door's going to close.
Yeah, it's
And
gonna be
yeah, the day before I was doing on a text message with a buddy of mine who's very politically savvy. And he said, Rob, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think we got a very short amount of time to get this
wow.
situated. And when I hear these very smart people say, Rob, the clock is
Yeah,
ticking, you're not understanding what they're putting in place. And if we don't solve it like immediately,
yeah.
we're going to be in a world of hurt. So I was the
I thought
drip.
we were already black pilled, but now we're really
Well, that's I don't want to get black pilled. Maybe it's my own, not wanting to recognize the scenario. I see what
I know.
they're talking about, and I see what's happening. But I always, I think of it as the boa constrictor type method, right? They
Yep.
just squeeze you, squeeze you, squeeze you, and then ultimately you're in big trouble.
Mhm.
She's got several podcasts that she's done lately
Okay.
and are out now to be watched, and I think they are really, really good. So we're going to talk about that just a minute. Are we running out of time? Is the Trump administration really
Mm.
there as a puppet administration? And it would appear that way outwardly. You have to admit, even if you're a Trump lover, you have to admit.
Yeah.
I keep saying I voted for the Trump of 2016. It's unrecognizable, the Trump in 2024, because they're basically the opposite person.
Yeah.
If you're a Trump supporter, you believe that he's playing some kind of 5D chess, and I get it. I say to my Trump supporters, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Mhm.
I don't know that you're right or wrong. I just don't know. But all I know is when I go to vote for somebody, I can only vote by what they tell me they want to do. If they tell me they
Yep.
don't want to start any wars, I'm like, okay, I don't want to start any wars either. Perfect. If Iran gets a nuclear weapon, we'll figure out what's going. Believe me,
Mhm.
the American people and the American government didn't want Pakistan to have a nuclear weapon, and they got
Yep.
one. And
Yep.
nobody even cares about that anymore. They
Yep.
didn't want North Korea to have a nuclear weapon, and they've got one, and we've
Yep.
moved on around the road. I don't know that we have to start wars with everybody that has or trying to get nuclear weapons. I don't know
Yeah.
that. If you have you
Mhm.
seen the videos of what goes on inside of Iran? We got to
We
play that.
haven't. I have. I don't think we've played it yet, but
I've sent them to you.
prior to the war, yeah.
What does the life look like inside of Iran to you? You got an
It
Australian
looks like any Middle Eastern country that you would go to. If you went to Pakistan, if you went to Afghanistan, Iraq,
malls, busy cities,
yeah, people that are
money.
so hospitable,
They're nice to Westerners. The guy the guy that goes in there from Australia is walking around, and everybody's
yeah,
wanting to take pictures with him and hang with them. It's the complete opposite of what they tell us it
yeah,
is like there, right?
mhm,
We're picturing everybody walking around with the burqas with the looking
yeah,
out with the eyes, and everybody's got their heads down and they're all upset. Looks like a very happy society to
yeah.
me.
There
And
are people like that, but that doesn't mean that that's every single person.
exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly, exactly
I
right.
think that's where the media takes their narrative and then they push it, right? I was even watching last night. You should check this out. They got a new documentary out about Rupert Murdoch. And that's what they were talking about, building his army and building the Fox Productions. And then he launched Fox News in 1996 and all the things that he did so he could push the conservative narrative because of liberal media. It's like, oh my
Control the
gosh.
conservative narrative.
Yeah, it's
That was
crazy.
that's what
Stuff
Rupert
I
Murdoch
already
did too.
knew in the back of my mind, but as they're just saying it, it's like, well, they're saying it out loud now.
Yeah, I think it's obvious now. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Everything is starting to come to a head, and I keep wondering why is it coming to a head now? Is there something that they know is coming so that it doesn't really matter if they release all this
Great
information?
reset.
Yeah, the Great Reset. It's just all of it's very odd. So I want to get into that. That's Catherine Austin Fitts. We'll talk about just what she believes is beginning to happen
Mm.
with digital money and the AI data centers. I want to talk about Trump as well. There's a recent clip. Do you pay attention to Nick Fuentes at all?
Of course.
The young people really like Nick Fuentes. He has become
Yeah.
incredibly
You don't have to
popular.
agree with everything that he says. It's
Why
just like
can't we
Trump.
why can't
Yeah.
we make money like Nick Fuentes? Tell people what he's
I
making
know.
on his little
Yeah, I mean,
on his show over there.
he's making, I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars a night just from people in this community donating, and
Yeah.
that's he has no advertisers, he has no one. I mean, he might now have people that are giving him money silently from private investors now, I think, but
Yep.
before he was all supported from his community. I mean, making hundreds of thousands up to millions of dollars just from his community supporting him. So
Yes. Yes.
hopefully that's what our community can do for People's Lobby.
Yeah, and I always wonder because I can do that act if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I could do Nick Fuentes probably as good as Nick Fuentes. It's just I don't want to go down the road where I'm alienating. He's brilliant. The
Yeah.
guy has a brilliant mind. There's no doubt about it. Is he offensive to a lot of people to get attention? Yes, but sometimes in
Yeah.
this world that we live in, sometimes you got to make
Mhm.
I'll say an ass out of yourself in order to get attention, and then you can kind of
Yeah.
explain where you're going with it. And I believe that's what he was doing. I got to meet Nick Fuentes in Atlanta,
Wow.
and when I always say something, it's not that it's a big deal, but he is so little. I mean,
Yeah.
he
Oh yeah. Very small.
can't weigh more than 120 pounds,
No.
5'4", 120 pounds, something of this nature. And but the image of him is this firebrand, that kind of thing. I'm like, man, He's a tiny little character.
Yeah,
All right.
you should see him in face-to-face debates. He doesn't get into that many face-to-face conversations because he's so big now, obviously, and so it's hard for him to move around in public eye. But you go back to maybe 2016 when he was starting to get out there in the public eye because of everything that happened with him at Boston University. Man, he is no problem. You know, if someone's taller than him, he has no problem just getting in their face.
Don't you love that?
Yeah, I love that.
I love it too.
You know, that's the.
I like courage. I want
Exactly.
to believe that he is not one of these controlled people that is there just to cause trouble. But I don't know that.
I know that's what a lot of people are saying now is that he's not that anything he's saying necessarily, but they just feel like he's.
Well, it's hard to get a platform like that, right? You gotta. I don't know where the money comes from. But again, this show will blow up when we start doing digital advertising and we're clipping it and doing all that stuff. We're trying to get situated for May 1, but not easy to do. It's not easy for podcasters who want to organize and tell the truth and get.
He had to start his own network so he could stream. And it closed down. He closed it down because Rumble is now free speech. But yeah, he had to start his own network just to stream his own information. I thought that was crazy.
That gives me some hope that he's trying to accomplish some things because whether you love or hate Nick Fuentes, he's got a very sharp mind. There's no doubt about it. His ability to communicate is very strong.
And he's captured the young people. If you don't believe that and you're listening and you're an older person, he 100% has the young Republicans.
I think that people 100%. Do not understand. If you're a boomer, and my boomer friends who they like a little bit like me, if I didn't have you to walk me through the technology, we wouldn't even be on the air today. I was panicking first thing this morning. But those people, like even my dad says, I can't find your show. I go to YouTube and I said, just type in the Robb Carter Show and scroll down till you see the most recent show.
Yeah.
And for him, it's like it just gives him a headache. And I get it, I'm the same way. Even when people that were not really technically savvy, they were like, Rob, I listen to your show every day. I'm so sorry. I'm not going to be able. I'm like, what do you mean? It's easier to listen to me. What are you talking? You can listen to me all day now. You can listen whenever you want.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah, they're not familiar with the technology, which is very simple. It's not hard at all.
One thing you can do too for everyone watching is, and this is what we can do for your dad too. We can help him out. Is that there's a little bell on the channels that you can click, and you can turn on notifications so that every time we do go live, you get a push notification to your phone to know that we are live. And so you can do that on Rumble. You can do that on YouTube. You can get notifications on X. You can get.
My wife said she had it notified. It wasn't ringing for her.
Really?
Yeah, she told me that 2 days ago. She goes, my notification didn't go off. When did you start? I said, I started on time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just
interesting.
Happened. So we'll figure it all out. Like I said, there's things we have to conquer, and we'll conquer them. But I want to talk about the Trump team because Nick Fuentes, the reason I brought him up, is he does a long video where he's talking about the background. This is another thing, Isaiah, that I find so interesting. He talks about the background of JD Vance. And when I was on the station, I took a lot of heat for saying, I don't like JD Vance. He makes me want to throw up in my mouth every time that I see him because I know where he comes from. He comes from Palantir, which wants to surveil every man, woman, and child when they go to the bathroom, when they go to the shower, when they're making love to their wife. They want to surveil you at every second of every day around the world. I don't want to be governed by people that are funded by Palantir, right? Which is Donald Trump and JD Vance, unless we can understand what is the rush to surveil citizens?
Yeah.
What is the rush to have every drop of information from a citizen? What is this hive mind operation we got going on with AI? How does this benefit the totality of American life? I don't see it. Nobody can explain it to me. All I get is, well, we're going to get the AI data centers in because they're going to create jobs and we have to beat China and all this other nonsense. And it doesn't ring true to me. That's all.
Yeah. Have you seen ever the CEO of Flock talking about why we need Flock safety?
No, but you got to tell me the story if you can find a video or something.
Yeah, we'll play a video sometime. We're gonna have Ike on the show.
Look at you. You're so good. You're so good. Everybody's raving about you. I'm thinking I'm in big trouble. I think you're going to take over the show at some point.
Absolutely. This is the Robb Carter Show. That's all I'm here for.
But yeah, Ike Skelton will be on the show on Monday at 10 o'clock. He is the one that restricted Flock cameras, and the Missouri government came after him. Filed lawsuits against him and tried to take him down. Now he's running for Senate. So we'll have him on. And Flock cameras they basically monitor every move you make in your car. That's it. Everywhere you go.
That's one of my promises to my citizens here in St. Clair is that I'll make sure that Flock safety never comes here to St. Clair because it's all surrounding us, and all the cities surrounding us here in Franklin County have them.
Good for you.
Yep.
I think you're going to do great. I really do. I was listening to you last night talk about your experience. I think you're going to be great at what you do, and I think if you want to have a political career, I think it'll grow as far as you want to take it.
We'll see, right? We've talked about that too.
I don't know. People used to try to get me into running for office, and my personality is that I would get in a fist fight at some point. I'm too old to get in a fist fight. Somebody's going to kick my ass, and I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Because I just cannot stand frauds. I cannot stand people that get into politics to make money. It just aggravates me so desperately, and I recognize it. I mean, you can see some of these people that go off to DC and they come back and they got so much money they could lose $20 million and wouldn't even recognize that it was gone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, so how did this all go down? I thought you were going there to better the lives of the American citizens because you're a public servant. And when you come back, you're in a Lear jet and you got homes all over the world. It's just, it's maddening. And then I see what goes on in Missouri too, because unlike some of the people in the state of Missouri, I know where the power structure is, the money behind it. And, everybody wants me to talk about it. Somebody was just making mention on in one of the comments. I'm not mad at those people. Yeah, you can have every right to be mad at the money behind it. I get it, and I understand it. The reason I don't go after them is I didn't hire them. They have nothing to do with me. My representatives are supposed to protect me from those people. And if they're not, my direct source to my life in a representative government are the officials that govern me. If those governing bodies don't want to protect me, then I'm in big trouble. But I'm not going after the money that is trying to sway them to give government contracts and sway them to do all of these things, because that is not my elected. My elected representatives are not to be in bed with the big money. They are supposed to protect the citizens from anything the big money wants that would hurt said citizen. Right?
Yes, I'm just thinking how you see it. I'm just thinking about the Mike Moon clip that we listened to yesterday. Now,
Mike Moon will be on. I think we got Mike Moon on Monday as well. So we'll have Mike Moon on.
That's awesome.
So we'll have Mike Moon. If you didn't hear it yesterday, Mike Moon, if you're listening from Missouri, Mike Moon he's one of the senators that he's my favorite senator. I think so. I think he's my favorite one. And they were asking about this tax bill, and they said, well, you may want to ask the person who wrote the bill. And he said, well, get the lobbyist in here because that's the person that wrote the bill. I love it.
I love it.
It's so fantastic. And he's right. I'm sure that the lobbyist wrote the bill.
I'm sure.
What else? So we'll talk about the tax bill today. We'll talk about the 702 FISA.
Yes.
Congress I'm excited about that. That makes me nervous because Congress they do whatever they're told. So if the Congress pushed back against the 702, and I know people are very excited that it was pushed back on, there's going to be more to that story. They're either going to get 702 passed or there's something bigger coming down the line. But this government is completely controlled. So whenever you think you're getting something good, there's a reason for it. So just be skeptical.
MAGA influencers are praising it too. And typically when that happens, something behind the scenes is happening. And the reason they're praising it is because they've gotten their paychecks to make those posts,
Right.
And so that's like Nick Sorter, Derek Evans, those types of people. That's where I saw it on X, was from those types of people. And so, I mean, Lauren Boebert, Tim Burchett, they were making their own videos, of course. But anytime I see the MAGA influencers pushing something that passed, I'm always skeptical of it because they've pushed things that I didn't agree with in the past.
I'll put it to you this way. Let's say this. Let's say that because we were talking about earlier with Catherine Austin Fitts. Let's say that now they're going to not give 702, which is basically warrant searches on American people. If they push this down, would it be right at the same time when the AI data centers are up and running and now we're being surveilled in a different manner?
And it doesn't matter.
Now right now you look like you're getting a win because you're pushing back on 702, which I don't want them to get 702. So I'm happy that it's not going through. Don't get me wrong. But it just doesn't make any sense when you recognize the government is just a control system. It's a puppet. It is a puppet. And why can't people believe that, Isaiah?
Yeah. That's why the documentary you have to start watching it tonight about Rupert Murdoch. They touch on that in there too.
Where is it? Where can people find it?
I think it's on Netflix. I believe it's on Netflix. We were just talking about Netflix yesterday, weren't we?
Yeah. And you're on Netflix. Shame on you.
I know. It's it's called Dynasty the Murdochs.
Dynasty the Murdochs. Okay.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the show Succession?
No.
Okay, so it's about everyone says it's patterned after the Murdoch family. It's about a family of kids of a large media empire, and the dad doesn't want to retire, and that whole thing. And so that's the whole Murdoch story, and that's what they're going through in the documentary. And so, but the reason Rupert Murdoch got into media is because he realized the influence he could have on politics specifically.
Oh yeah.
And then launching Fox News, there was some guy that I was not familiar with that was really connected to Roger Stone, and that's how they kind of got Fox News off the ground. So
interesting.
not surprised by that, but it was interesting to see the series of events and the people that were connected to get Fox News off the ground.
Yeah, you got to watch. I suggest everybody go to YouTube at some point and find the clip of Ned Beatty on the movie Network talking to Mr. Beale, and it's the power structure of the world telling the what do they call it? The anchorman, right?
Okay.
Telling the TV anchorman how the world works, and you need to get with it, right? And I just thought it was so fantastic. 6 minutes. It's Ned Beatty is so fantastic in it. If you know who Ned Beatty is. What else? And then I got just one thing. Can we just start with one thing I thought was interesting? I'm gonna get your opinion on. It's the it's clip number 14. So were you when were you born? What year?
92.
Okay, so you were 3 years old. This probably is not going to ring true with you. The O.J. Simpson case was something that I was absolutely fascinated by. Right, so I was a big O.J. Simpson fan. I have an autograph of O.J. Simpson. He came to St. Louis. There used to be a Hilton Hotel there. Stan Musial and Biggie. Stan Musial, the baseball player. It's called Stan Musial and Biggie's. My dad used to work there. O.J. Simpson came in, signed a picture for me that I had. I was the biggest O.J. Simpson fan growing up. You can't imagine. I just absolutely loved watching him play football. And then when this happens, where he's alleged to have killed his wife and this waiter that was bringing back glasses to his wife, if you know the story.
Yep.
Throughout the trial, it seemed very obvious that O.J. Simpson committed these murders. They had DNA there. They had DNA at his home. They had DNA in the car. They had witnesses. They had this. They had that. It seemed relatively simple what happened, but it was a race war at the time.
Yep.
Right. The networks had taken their positions. Right. You got the right with Fox News.
Is that the Rodney King situation too?
Right. Yes.
Yeah,
so Rodney King had happened before that. If people don't know, Rodney King was pulled over by the cops. He was on PCP. Somebody got a video from the side, and they're just beating the tar out of Rodney. What was his name? Rodney, what was it?
Rodney King, I believe.
Rodney King, that's right. Rodney King. Can't we just all get along? Remember that?
Yeah.
That's what he said, right?
Yeah.
So when that trial was on, I watched pretty much every second that I could watch of it. I was absolutely fascinated by the O.J. Simpson trial. I remember where I was at when the Bronco chase went down. I remember
I was going to ask if you remember that too.
Absolutely. I was at a bar actually watching the NBA finals. And then when the verdict came out, I was in the shoe business. I just started in the shoe business, and I was giving a seminar to people at J.C. Penney's. I work for a company called Bostonian. I was giving a seminar, and they said, "Hey, the verdict's coming in," and we're working.
Yeah, of course.
I got like 30 people around me, and it's black and white people, just like on television. So they bring in a cart, like you're at school, where they bring in a cart and they put a TV on. True story, because nobody wanted to miss it, right?
Yeah, of course.
They bring out this cart, they play it, and same thing that everybody else saw. All the black people cheered, and all the white people went, "What in the world?" Well, now you can start to understand how they got to the conclusion that O.J. Simpson was innocent. This juror, and we'll play it here in just a minute. This juror is asked by a reporter, "Did the Rodney King situation play into it?" And she says yes. So basically, what they're saying is it was payback. They were going to find O.J. Simpson innocent, regardless of if they had videotape. And he had still had blood on his shirt when he came to court. They were gonna decide that he was innocent because it was payback to the white, as they put it, the white establishment for what happened to Rodney King. Now, Rodney King was beat mercilessly by batons on the side of the road as he's rolling up by about 6 or 8 officers, just pounding on him with these batons, and then the officers got off. So that made the black community very angry. They felt like they had been mistreated for decades in Los Angeles. So when O.J. Simpson, one of their people, one of their heroes, is on trial, they already don't trust the L.A. Police Department. Yeah. But regardless, according to this lady and what she says, they were not going to bring back a guilty verdict for O.J. Simpson simply because it was payback for Rodney. Check it out. It's clip number 14.
Yeah, the glove does not fit. You must acquit, right?
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Yeah. Here we go. We'll play it.
Trial of the century.
What chaos looks like. I don't know how many of you saw this, but it looks like ESPN is doing some kind of O.J. Simpson documentary. Unbelievably, they grabbed one of the jurors from the infamous O.J. case, who admits to, is this even criminal? Like, I can't believe this woman said this on camera. The woman admits on camera that a lot of the jurors thought O.J. had murdered Nicole, but let him off anyway because it was payback for like the system or something. This is shocking. Check this out.
Do you think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit O.J. because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of us.
90%?
Wow.
Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
Why bring this up? Because, ladies and gentlemen, when institutions collapse, when faith in institutions collapse, this is what you get. You get power. Unbelievable.
What you get, it's not institutions collapsing. What you're seeing is the manipulation of minds, right? So you're pitting people against each other, and you're doing that through all kinds of different methods. You're doing it through visual images of Rodney King getting beat up, and then I'm sure there was some kind of lawful reason, right? Because this is what I keep saying about the law. The people that create the system are also writing the laws. That's the whole thing. So this guy goes, and it was, as far as I could tell, and some of those cops should have been reprimanded quite nicely because they got a man laying on the ground. They're beating the tar out of him. He's posing no threat to them whatsoever. He's on PCP, rolling around the ground with no guns, nothing. And you got 8 or 9 cops with batons just pounding away at this guy. And when he does the interview, he's got a swollen eye and his face looks like he got beat half to death. And then those cops that did it to him walk scot-free.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it has nothing to do with institutions failing. It has to do with human frailty. It has to do with power going unchecked, which is why Jeffrey Winehouse, we talked about earlier. That's why I wanted to play it. That's why Jeffrey Winehouse remains in prison for something he did not do. That's why he's in prison to this day. He's in there for something he did not do. Visually, you can see that he did not do it. There's a witness in Jeffrey Winehouse's case that says they asked him if they saw the shooting, and it's on audio. It was a local television station. And they go, no, we watched the execution. We saw the execution.
Yeah, the execution. Yeah.
And now that guy can't be found, I'm told. The guy that was the witness is is gone. Nobody can find out where he's at or what's going on with him.
Hillary Clinton situation.
Yeah, they bagged him.
It's interesting that I just thought about this too, because in the Murdoch documentary, they were talking about how Fox News probably would have never gotten off the ground if the Monica Lewinsky situation hadn't happened. And Fox News essentially launched, and the Monica Lewinsky situation with Bill Clinton happened, and then Fox News pushed it hard, and it was the first time they said, instead of reporting on the news, you're going to push this narrative.
Yes.
And so and they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. But it's so interesting that the O.J. Simpson case ends in 95, and it's the liberal media kind of playing into everything. And now in the 96 we have Fox News starts. So I wonder if there's any. They don't mention it, but I wonder if there's any correlation there too, because of everything that happened with O.J. Simpson and the liberal media there.
You'd certainly guess, right?
Yeah.
You guess there's some coordination because, as Catherine Austin Fitts says, these people they may seem incompetent, but they're very good planners as to how they want to move things around.
Field of Wolf 911 said he's probably in a cave somewhere.
You never know. All right, why don't we start? Why don't we start with the missing scientist? Because when we're talking about the media and how things work out,
I
want to give you my opinion on this, and then we'll get into the clips. Fox News now is on the scientists that are missing. So apparently, these scientists were working on weaponry, anti-gravity weaponry, and now it's the big Fox News. And I like to show people how Fox News rolls out narratives. And as you watch the Fox, and this is what I want to bring back into politics. When you watch them roll out the narrative, you're going to watch it get to Donald Trump. So Fox News controls the situation. They could remember what I talked about with the brainwashing. Right? This is how you do it. So for the people that are watching Fox News, they're going to roll this out. They're going to roll it out in the daytime for the daytime viewers. Then they're going to roll it out in at dinner time. They're going to roll it out with those people. Then they're going to roll it out at prime time. They're going to roll it out in the middle of the night. They're going to have all of these people that have shows begin to tell the story, and they're going to tell the story about this crazy situation that nobody can figure out. All of these scientists, 10 scientists, are missing, and they're all involved with scientific operations to create, I would say, weaponry that is dangerous. Right? That's how I'd put it. But look how they roll it out. Let's just start with how they roll it out. Let's start with
number 10.
Yeah, you can do 10
or 13.
Yeah, you can do 10. That's actually no. Let's start with 13. Let's start with 13. This is how it's going to look on Fox News. So you're going to watch this, and the reason I say to watch it is we'll pay attention to what the story. If 10 or 11 people have been killed, right, and Fox News is carrying this every day, then at some point you would think, okay, well then we're going to figure out who killed these people. There's going to be a huge investigation. According to the American press and the American government, we could find a needle in a haystack from the sky. We can do whatever we want to do. We have the greatest investigative tools of all time. We can take out any country's leader. We can actually go into Venezuela like a ghost.
Yep.
Sneak down and take their leader up by his hair, pull him up, put him into a helicopter, fly away back to Missouri or wherever they're taking him.
Yep.
And then perp walk him. Right. So these are the capabilities that we have. And you would
Did you see how they found the fighter jet pilot? Heart murmur thing where they heard his heartbeat, and that's how it's like, okay, we have this level of technology, but we can't find.
But now you have 10 and now 11 scientists, right? So you have these scientists that have been disappearing that are very powerful, brilliant people. Okay. So these are some of those brightest minds in our country, and they're disappearing while they're working on big projects that would benefit the American government in terms of national defense. And they're just disappearing left and right. 11 of them now, they say. Okay. Yeah. So listen to how Fox News rolls it out, and then we'll talk about what we need to pay attention to. So first clip is number 13.
Right now, the White House says it is looking into the mysterious string of disappearances and deaths of at least 10 high-profile American scientists. Now, many of them tasked with studying UFOs or nuclear research. All of them have either died or mysteriously vanished, dating back to mid-2023.
There you go. Okay.
Wow.
So this starts in mid-23. So that's a daytime host. I think she goes on the 5 and those type of operations. So kind of a daytime host. I forget her name, but she was an attorney. Okay, now let's go to Dana Perino. All right, Dana Perino is 17. So I'm showing you how the Fox News is going to roll this out. So people that watch it will start to understand what's
the narrative building, as you call it.
The narrative building is underway.
Here we go.
An unsettling mystery. At least 10 American scientists, military officials, and associates have been found dead or suddenly vanished. And now some lawmakers are calling for an investigation. Brooke Taylor is live from Dallas with more. I've been sort of following this, but I'm looking forward to your report so I can better understand it.
Hi, Dana. Well, there's definitely a lot of questions surrounding this because at least 10 of those scientists, military officials, and employees, as you mentioned, who are tied to America's most sensitive nuclear and space programs have either just vanished or disappeared in the last few years. So we hope we'll break this down for you. We put this together. The cases span from July 2023 to now. In some, deaths remain unexplained or lack full public detail. In others, sudden disappearances with few answers. So check out some of these cases. Most recently, retired Air Force General William McCaslin vanished in February. He walked out of his Albuquerque home, leaving behind his phone. Previously, he oversaw some of the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace programs. Then check out this case also in February. Astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer, who worked closely on NASA missions, was killed outside of his home. Police did arrest a suspect in that case. Then 8 months earlier, U.S. rocket scientist Monica Reza disappeared while hiking in California's Angeles National Forest. Records show she worked on advanced aerospace materials. I spoke to Congressman Eric Burleson, who's calling for an FBI investigation.
Well, these were not ordinary citizens. These are some of the most advanced scientists that are working on some of our most critical nation secrets. This has all of the hallmarks of a foreign operation. And so this is something that we need to be investigating.
And Dana, so far, no local authority has publicly connected these mysterious deaths and disappearances. We did reach out to the FBI last night, who told us they have no comment.
Okay.
Wow.
So that's 2. Let's get to now. Donald Trump has to respond, right? Because it's a Fox News narrative.
Of course.
Because if Robb Carter says, hey, what's going on with the Smith Modernization Act, you're peddling propaganda all day long, and you passed legislation in 2013 so that you could lie to the American people in a coordinated fashion to take us to war and to stick needles in our arms and these types of things. We'd like an answer on that. I don't want to answer that. Fox News doesn't want to get into that kind of question because that would reveal why we're going through all these type of ridiculous stories, right? This is how it works. I just want people to understand it. That's all. I'm not trying to be a jerk off about it. I'm just saying the Fox News viewer is constantly being manipulated and they don't see it. And I'm not critical because I was the exact same way. I say it all the time. I was in that haze. I lived in that haze. I know exactly what you're going through. I'm just saying, just pray on it because at some point you're going to have to get out of that haze if you're going to live in reality. And I think most Fox News viewers, most conservatives, most libertarians they want to live in reality, don't they? Don't they, Isaiah?
Well, yeah.
Don't most
Oh, yeah.
conservatives want to live in some form of reality? Fox News is a narrative building operation to strip you of your money and ultimately align with the powers that be. And I don't even say they're Republicans or conservative, just the powers that be that have control of the government to sell you narratives that make you react, that take away your liberties, strip you of your money, and keep you spinning in a hamster wheel all day long to try to figure out what's going on in the world. Never a resolution. They'll never, ever, 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 ever get to a resolution. And if they do, it'll be a lie.
Yes.
That's just how it works. And I'm 25 years of studying it like a machine. I'd like to say that I'm positive, but I don't even know that today is Friday anymore. Everything's crazy to me, right?
Is the Earth round?
I don't even know if the Earth is round anymore. All right, let's do clip number 18. Trump has to respond. Here is Trump's response to all of the news coming out of Fox News.
10 missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace. They've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here? And do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left the meeting on that subject. So pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
Okay, now remember that. So what is today? So the day is 17th. On May 1st, he's going to have an answer.
All right.
Right? What do you think the answer is going to be? I know what the answer is going to be. Do you know what the answer is going to be?
Natural causes.
Nope.
I'm just joking.
Nope. What was the cause of COVID? Do you remember that?
Oh, China.
It's
their fault. Yeah, China's coming. Russia maybe is going to be taking out our scientists.
Yep, it's going to be China, because I was listening to this guy named Brandon Weichert, who's out of the blue. Remember what Dr. Shiva said when we played that video yesterday? These influencers come up out of the blue. You've never heard of them. They've never been anywhere in the world. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, they have the answers to all of your questions, and they go on all of the people within the bubble, right? The redacteds of the world, the Alex Joneses of the world, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, the Candace Owens of the world, the Megyn Kellys of the world. They start to go on those operations and tell you stories that you go, can't find that on Fox News. But as Dr. Shiva said, they control both sides of the argument, because you can never get a resolution when everybody is just talking about it, but nobody demands anything get done. It just becomes palace intrigue. What do you believe? What do I believe? That is the game that they're playing. And the more people that at least question it, you don't have to believe me. Just watch it and see how much information you are given and how many times you get resolution to the things you're concerned about. Just from that standpoint, see if you ever get to resolution.
Fighting, this is what I think about it. Is they keep us fighting, then we can't be mad at them for not getting things done, because then they can just point to, oh, well, it's the Democrats or it's the Republicans. They're not coming across the aisle and trying to get a deal done. And so
it has to be Democrat versus Republican.
Yeah.
It has to be China versus the United States. We have to create boogeymen in order to steal all of the money. You can't, there's an old saying, when the king looks out over his kingdom and the people are all fighting one another, he sleeps very well at night. When they're all looking at the king for answers, that's when trouble happens. And
you start sweating.
Yep. That's what Amy Castro said last night. She goes, we keep looking left and right. We need to look top down. And I couldn't agree more with that statement. In fact, I think I've made that several times myself. Okay, now let's get to how I know this. Okay, this guy's name is Brandon Weichert. I think this is on the show Redacted. Where does Clayton Morris come from? Do you know?
No.
Fox News. He was at Fox News for 10 years.
Really?
So Clayton Morris, and I like these shows. This is not about these people. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
I mean, Tucker comes from Fox, right? CNN,
Fox. Yep, they've CNN, Fox, and I used to make that argument all the time. Squirrels are coming, because I got to make this point before we play this video. I used to make the point. I said, look how many people go from CNN to Fox, and I want you to think about that, right? Because if you're at Fox, you're presumed to be a conservative. They had this woman, Allison Camerata, who was a big player. She used to do the morning show at Fox News, Fox and Friends in the morning, Allison Camerata. And she was considered a conservative. She would ask all the conservative viewpoints. She would read the script for the conservatives. And then she goes on and does a morning show on CNN. And now she's a liberal with liberal talking points and making fun of the conservatives. I'm like, Tucker Carlson was that way. Dobbs was that way. I mean, there's like 50 of them that have bounced back and forth between Fox News and CNN. And yet people don't go, that's kind of weird. I wonder if they're coordinated in some way. Why would conservatives going to want to go work at CNN and be liberals? And why would liberals on CNN want to eventually go over to Fox News and be a conservative? And nobody even sees the coordination between these two. But They will. They're going to see it. It's coming.
Yeah.
And when they see it, maybe we can all band together and support independent information, because that's where the really is at. All right. So this is Brandon Weichart. This guy, if you're not paying attention to social media, he's starting to develop a name for himself. Take a picture of him in your mind when you see this video. You're going to, if you're watching social media and you're paying attention to the news, you're going to start seeing this guy all over the place. I'm not besmirching him. He may be the real deal. I'm not saying that he isn't, but it just kind of strikes me as funny how this is all playing out. You have the big, all of a sudden out of the blue, as somebody said yesterday, they go, well, now 10 people are dead and now we're going to run an investigation, right? Well, if you have 9 people that are working on national security and big time operations die, don't you go, huh? After 3, would you get curious?
Yeah,
after 4,
exactly.
would you get curious? After 5, maybe after 6, it has to be 10. And then let's get to the final one before I go to Brandon Weichart, because we didn't play number 10. Play number 10, because this is now the big hitters are getting to it, because now you got Laura Ingraham on it, and now she says it's not 10. There's another one. Number 11 just happened. Clip number 10.
Named Amy Eskridge was found dead in Alabama in 2022 after she warned that her life could be in danger. She was reportedly working on anti-gravity technology, and this obviously could make her possibly the 11th scientist. At what point does the FBI just stop dismissing these cases as disparate and unrelated and start asking whether there's actually a pattern here?
Wow.
Okay.
Man, I really, once you said, now that you said that it's China, the narrative is very,
here's what the narrative is.
Why is Fox News so interested? You know,
well, they want to make China look bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything is about making China, Iran, and Russia look bad. That's the game for whatever reason. You know, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, but they have to be the enemy. And whether they are the enemy or not, I really don't know. When I was at China, everybody treated me like fantastic. I walked the streets. Excuse me.
If they're the enemy, I mean, we let tons of their citizens come in and go to our schools. So
600,000 kids get to come here from China to go to our colleges. So if they're the enemy, we're not doing a very good job of stopping the enemy from invading our country. All right, clip number 7. Now, the guy's name is Brandon Weichart. He went on the Redacted Show, which I like. I think these guys are talented. I think Tucker Carlson is talented. I think all these people are really talented. I just don't think their game is to solve anything. I think their game is to make sure that they perpetuate narratives, or clicks, sensationalism, and they get everybody to watch and argue with their friends as to whether Erica Kirk is crazy-eyed or she's just a widow who is you don't know how you would act if your husband died, kind of thing, right? Now you're in the middle of this, and Candace Owens says this, and the other people go, Candace Owens ridiculous. No, Candace Owens is great. Tucker Carlson is anti-Semite. No, he's not. He's not anti. And you get everybody arguing about things, which is the game, I believe. Okay, Brandon Weichart, clip number 7 on the Redacted Show. Listen to how he lays this out for you.
I want to ask you about the Chinese piece of all of this, and maybe even the Russian piece of all of this. I wanted to talk to you specifically about this because over the past couple of weeks, a number of American scientists have gone missing. That have worked on really advanced plasma technology, I think reverse engineering of advanced weaponry that may have come from UFO craft down to aircraft, and the reverse engineering. And you posted something interesting, which I think, because people get like bogged down. Oh, it's aliens, and you said, well, no, it's not aliens that are disappearing these American scientists all of a sudden. Maybe you can walk us through what you believe is actually happening.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, and the reason I have to put these god awful readers is because I'm blind as a bat now. You mentioned the 6 American scientists, and this is where it gets really wild. This is the article that I'm getting ready to drop at NatSec Guy on Emerald.tv. I went in and I found that in mid-March 2026, 3 of China's top defense scientists, Zhao Jinkang, who's a nuclear weapons expert, Wu Manqing, who's a radar and metamaterials expert,
cute name,
Wei Yiyan, who is a missile systems expert, they were all quietly erased from the Chinese Academy of Engineering's website, which means they're no longer among the living. Then, just a few days after that, hypersonics expert Yan Hong, who's one of the key figures working on plasma aerodynamics, died suddenly at just 56 years old. So what I did is I took that list of 5 Chinese scientists and I paired it with what those 6 scientists, American scientists, were working on, and they have massive overlap. So what these scientists for the Americans were doing for our military, these 4 or 5 Chinese scientists were doing for their military. So what that tells me is that, and this is the conclusion of, spoiler alert, this is the
They're saying turn it up.
What this tells me is that there's shadow boxing going on between the United States and China. I think that this is a shaping operation in the run-up to the big war between the United States and China, and we're trying to take out each other's brain power, because the modern warfare map is not just about geography. It's not just about bullets and bombs and technology. It's about the people who make the technology and the bullets and the bombs
That's good.
work. And if you knock out the brain power...
Yeah, I'm not sure why they recorded their audio so low, but that's 100% audio right there.
My sound was funny.
Oh,
when I did it, it came out of my phone exactly like every other clip. So I can't explain that. Sometimes it's just we're at the mercy of technology. But what he's saying is that several Chinese scientists working in the same field have also died suddenly. And he goes like this. He goes, and when I overlap them, they're basically working on the same thing. So he surmises that it is the Chinese that are killing off. This is the implication. The Chinese, who I guess are now at war with America. I didn't realize this was going on, but apparently they're not at war with us because they want to sell that idea as well. Because you're going to have to get that $1.5 trillion military budget, and you got to have an enemy. So they're going to China's going to be the new enemy, right? I mean, not that they haven't been, but they've been selling this for quite some time as we get all of our goods from China, and we have 600,000 Chinese students coming into our universities. The whole thing is just so absurd. It's like I said. I have this lady. I think she's mocking me a little bit because she said that you see patterns and you're kind of. I think she said I was being. She implied it. She didn't say it, so I don't put words in her mouth. But she was implying, in my opinion, that I was saying that I was more intelligent. I said no. I'm not. I don't mean to say that at all. That's not the case. Everybody has things that they're good at, right?
Hey, you got genius in your bio though.
Well, it's sarcasm. So I said somebody made fun of that. And I said nobody even recognizes sarcasm anymore either. Yeah. And I said it's just pattern recognition. You see things that I wouldn't be able to see. I have a completely different skill set than my wife. I talked to you about with the grill.
Exactly.
My wife sees the instructions for the grill, and I think she's a genius when she puts the grill together. She thinks I'm retarded, right? And I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean retarded in the sense that I can't think straight to get something done.
Oh yeah.
And on the other times when I think something is really easy because I can see a pattern in a different way, she doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Right. So that is what makes the world go round. I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than anybody. I'm saying this is something I pay attention to on a daily basis, pretty much every waking hour of my life, and even when I'm sleeping. And I can see these patterns starting to develop. Don't get mad at me because I'm seeing it and you're not recognizing it because you're not as invested as some of us are. You see them, don't you? I mean, you don't think I'm crazy. You see these patterns begin to develop. And Rob Workman, who's been on the show, he's up there. He says now all governments work together and are in on it. That's what I believe. I believe that China, Russia, even Iran, Saudi Arabia, Israel. I believe all of these. I believe all of these people that run these countries have been connected through the World Economic Forum and and the Trilateral Commission and all of these different global organizations because they don't care about you. That's what people don't realize. That you think that if you're in Saudi Arabia or if you're in Israel that they care about their people and they're going to protect their people. They're protecting their power.
Yep,
that's what they're protecting.
Have you ever seen any of these independent journalists on the ground when they're doing the WEF summit or something?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're trying to get answers from these people.
Rebel News does a great job.
And they're just skirting around and they don't want to talk to you. They don't want to answer any questions.
Exactly.
And they run into a building so that you can't get to them. It's crazy.
Right. And they are convinced, I believe, that the people in power, the people that actually determine what goes on in the world, I think that those people recognize that so long as they can control the message and they can control the media outlets, right? The vast majority of the media outlets, and that's social media included, right? I love the technology that we can do this. 15 years ago, you and I could not put this. We'd have to have some kind of TV deal. So there's good and bad.
$10,000 of equipment.
That's right. There's good and bad in everything. So I appreciate that we have this technology so that we can do it. But I also recognize how dangerous this can be because they can manipulate this. They can squash us. As Elon Musk said, freedom of speech does not mean freedom of reach. So freedom of reach usually comes from big money that wants to get out a message. And like I said before, you can't get some of these people out of your feed. You can't do it. Nope. I mean, I can't get these people out of my feed all of a sudden. They're just, and I don't even, You think I could care anything about Fox News? Why would Fox News be going through my? I hate Fox News, and they go through my feed all day long. I'm like, I don't want to hear from Fox News. I don't care.
Yep.
And they're in my feed, right?
Yep.
I guess I care today
just because you lean conservative is what it's seeing. You're interested in politics, so you must want to see Fox
News. Exactly. So I want people to pay attention to that story. It is the missing scientist story. Fox News is perpetuating it as we speak. And then you have Brandon Weichert, who came out of nowhere. He's been on several. I've been watching him. He made several different comments about what was going on in Iran. All of a sudden, he's this expert that everybody wants to get on their shows. And what shows does he go on? He goes on Clayton Morris from Fox News. I'm sure. I think he's been on Tucker already from Fox News.
Yep.
He'll get into that stream of the not so obvious establishment versus the obvious establishment, and you're not going to know which one is which because they're both perpetuating a story from a different angle that will get you talking within the bubble, never looking outside the bubble. Go, is this all being orchestrated for me? Right?
Yeah, like the whole Tucker situation, like you were saying yesterday, he didn't know his dad was in the CIA, right? You didn't know that until now. Like you just are finding out, right? It's like I doubt that, right? Especially with, we were talking about MK Ultra earlier this week and the CIA involvement in that, and so that's what I think about Tucker. Is I think he's great, and I want to believe a lot of the stuff that he's putting out there, but his background steers me to the idea that he's some type of controlled narrative.
His background makes me nervous as well. And again, I don't know any of this. I'm just saying if I was an investigator and you told me this, and this,
exactly,
I would not trust certain people just based on their background. When I like Tucker Carlson. I've said long ago, I think Tucker Carlson at what he does is one of the most talented people in America. To be able to look into a camera like I'm doing right now and read off a script and make it seem pleasant, clean, no interruptions, very easy to understand. That's a skill I don't have. I mean, I may try to attain it at some point if I want to read script, but I do it all up because I don't have a choice. I can't read the script. I can't make it sound natural. He does, right? So he's a very talented guy. I agree with almost all of his opinions recently. So maybe he's turned the dial and maybe he's coming around to our way of thinking, because everything he says pretty much I agree with right now. I think he's been right on the mark with his assessment of what's going on in the world. But nonetheless, when he said he didn't know that his father was in the CIA, I just don't know what to say about that.
For 50 something years that you didn't know and you're just finding out.
Exactly. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, his father was in Voice of America, which was a propaganda outlet under the Bush-Reagan administration, and it fell at that time under the CIA. So how could you not know your father's basic background?
I know.
And be a journalist? It doesn't make any sense.
You're such a great investigative journalist.
That's what I mean. It's hard if he hadn't said that, I'd probably be just a little bit more apt to believe what he's doing now, right? 100%. But if he said, "Yeah, my dad was in the CIA," we were the good guys in the CIA. There's different shades within the CIA. We're the good guys. We were trying to get things done. But what his father was doing was disseminating American propaganda overseas for an operation called Voice of America that was controlled by the CIA.
Yep.
So
we got some people asking for Dr. Shiva to come on again. I know
we're trying to get Dr. Shiva.
Yeah, we're trying to get Dr. Shiva. If you're watching, we need you on.
You know what we should do? I think Dr. Shiva is a friend of the show. I think Dr. Shiva might be busy. I don't know what's going on with him, but he did not respond to it's the first time they haven't responded. And Isaiah, I think it might have been one of the situations that he's a little upset with me, because the last time we had him, it was when somebody was filling in for Dan at the radio station.
Oh, okay.
And I said, and I left him this message. I said, "Man, I've been promoting you all week long, and you didn't pick up your link so that you could be on the show." And then his assistant sent me a message saying, we were waiting for you. We never got a link. And I think it irritated him a little bit.
Yeah.
Dr. Shiva seems to be a guy you don't play games with. And
I'm sure he has very limited time too.
I think he has very limited patience. I think he's one of those guys that's incredibly bright and just does not like to mess around. That seems to be his personality. To me. But that's the story on the missing scientist. Pay attention to it. We got 12 minutes before we go into Elad Gross. So why don't we give the background here? Okay, so we're going to talk.
Yes.
We got a lot of things to talk about today. Stick with me. I'm bouncing here a little bit because that's how I do the show. I want to talk about this.
Someone said on Facebook that they love the new format, that you can just go and go and go and you don't have any interruptions. And so people are appreciating that.
I've considered doing a 24-hour marathon one time just to go. I want to prove to people that there are so many narratives that they would find interesting if you go down that rabbit hole that I might get all hopped up and do 24 hours. See what happens.
Yeah, 24 hours squirrel session.
24-hour squirrel session. I actually believe that I could do it, and my back would.
I'm sure.
But I think as far as the information that's available and stuff to consider,
yeah,
I could do 24 hours. I believe we did 3 hours. And what did we do? 3 hours and 40 minutes yesterday.
Yep. Yeah.
Elad
Gross.
Elad Gross. Let me give you my background with Elad. I happen to really like Elad Gross, and I don't know him personally. I'm just talking about the way he presents himself. He goes out onto LinkedIn every so often, and he gives 3-minute spiels on what's going on in the Missouri government. He ran for attorney general in the state of Missouri as a Democrat. He ran for the I think that was when Bailey won it.
Okay? When Bailey won.
He ran as a Democrat. I like the way he explains things from a liberal point of view. I like the way he lays out what's going on in the Missouri government. And he went out yesterday and said, how about what's going on in the Missouri government? I'm going to play this clip for you, but he's saying what we talked about yesterday. You are passing bills with the Senate chambers, with the doors closed to the Capitol so people couldn't come in and see it. You are passing tax legislation in the middle of the night, despite a lot of people not exactly understanding what is going on. And he's questioning it. And so are many of the Republicans. But let's hear from Elad Gross. This is Elad Gross, clip number 11. Check him out.
I really wanted to be in a truck video today because some of you might know that the Missouri State Senate last night, behind closed doors, in the middle of the night, and I guess early into this morning, passed a tax bill under the guise of eliminating Missouri's income tax to raise a whole bunch of other taxes, including potentially taxes on her haircuts, which are already, they take a long time because she is such a jerk. But these are taxes on a whole bunch of different services that we currently don't pay taxes on. Think about taxes on a mechanic, taxes on getting haircuts, could be anything. And the government wants to have the power to decide that. So while they're eliminating the income tax, which is predominantly going to affect people who have a whole lot of money, like billionaires, and the rest of us, well, we get to pay more taxes on the goods that we are already buying and services that we are already purchasing, and it's going to impact folks with less money more than it's going to impact people with a lot of money, who are already getting a whole bunch of other tax breaks that have been granted to them by our state legislature just over the last year. There's a reason why you pass something in the middle of the night and you do it at a time when the doors are locked behind you, because you worry that if folks were actually to see what was going on, they wouldn't like it. And that's exactly what's happening in our state government right now. Honestly, it's happening all over the state of Missouri. It's not just happening here. It's happening in our local areas where they're talking about these data centers that are just popping up with all these benefits for the rich folks who are building them, but not really all those benefits for everybody else who lives there, destroying our water sources. All of these huge corporations that are getting these massive tax breaks and massive regulatory breaks and massive whatever they want here in Missouri to experiment on the rest of us while we're all getting screwed. So right now we've got a state legislature that doesn't really care even about Missouri's public meetings law that requires open meetings and allowing folks to come see what's going on in our government. Doesn't that make sense? There's nobody enforcing that law right now in our government. There's nobody who's looking out for us. We don't have a governor who's sending this crap back to the legislature to tell them do this the right way. We don't have an attorney general who's trying to put an end to that through litigation. Nothing. So it's up to Missourians right now to defend ourselves against a government that increasingly is trying to get bigger and bigger while screwing over poor people.
Well, can I get an amen from that, please? And you know what's funny about that? Because he mentioned the attorney general and the governor both on the previous station that I worked at after I left. Isn't that odd? Am I the only one that's starting to notice these things?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I noticed it immediately.
Yeah. I just think it's odd, and then it's
the governor's coming on all of a sudden.
The governor's coming on with a girl that's on her second show.
Yeah.
Her second show, the governor is willing to go on and explain the tax bill that she goes out and defends and acts like she understands all of the tax bill implications. It's just.
Yep.
I wish everybody well, and I do, and I think she's a talented young lady, and I think she'll do great. But let's do what's right for Missouri. Let's not get into nonsensical games. I was looking at the scroll it was going through, and Jackson said, "Yeah, but Elod's a liberal." What did Elod say? Did he say anything about Democrats and Republicans there? Did he say the Missouri government?
Yeah,
these are the things that I look for. It's the Missouri government. I don't think there are Democrats and Republicans. I just don't believe it. I think that they work together, and I think that the power structure of Missouri is completely and totally controlled. And I hope that there's a few people in there that are playing cloak and dagger like Donald Trump is, 7D or 8D chess, whatever they're playing at this point, to get things done in the state of Missouri. Because as I continue to say, there's going to be more of me. Act for Missouri is getting this information out to their group. The Shield Maidens of Missouri getting the information out to their group. There are multiple organizations, Unite for Freedom, People's Lobby Missouri. We're starting to get the information out. And as it starts to, you don't have to convince millions of people. You have to convince enough people that start to tell their friends in conversation, no, did you know about this? Did you know that? Did you know it was illegal to do what they did last night to change the tax policy in Missouri? Did you realize that was illegal that they did that? Right. And you just hope that there's enough people. Yeah, you just hope that there's enough people that aren't so apathetic that they don't care about what happens to anybody at any time, anywhere. You hope that there's enough people that go, yeah, we're not gonna put up with that for too terribly long. We got to make some changes. All right,
I think that was the whole goal, though. I think that they wanted us to fight, so then it made it uncomfortable for people at family dinners and things like that. So then we don't talk about it, and then we don't care because we don't talk about it. That's what I feel like when I talk to a lot of people about politics. Oh, I'm not political, right? And what do you mean you're not political? Everyone has. Being political doesn't mean that you hate another side or anything. And that's what people mean by that, is that, I'm going to argue my points against why the other side's wrong, not why I just want to stand up for myself and for my fellow citizens against the government. So.
Absolutely. Very well said. I couldn't agree more, Isaiah. Let me get Joe Nicola. Now, Joe Nicola is somebody that I'd like to have on the show. I'm friendly with Joe Nicola. When I did my opening for People's Lobby Missouri, he came all the way in from Kansas City. I'm very appreciative of people that make that kind of sacrifice for me. And he gave the opening prayer at my first opening meeting for People's Lobby Missouri. His chief of staff, Jody, is somebody that I think is wonderful. I'd like to get them on as this starts to progress, because I want to understand from the Missouri Senate, and we'll have Mike Moon on Monday, but there's a few people in there that have been willing to come on and bounce it around. And I hope Joe Nicola is one of them, because he voted against this thing last night. And he made the same argument as Elod Gross. Clip number 19 from the Senate floor last night, Senator Joe Nicola. Check it out.
Like how the process was handled last night. It seemed rushed, it seemed pushed, and it's after midnight. And the people aren't here, the people aren't, even have access to it. So I have a lot of concerns with that.
Wow.
There you go. So what we're talking about is the concern of government getting over on the citizens, convincing them that one thing is happening, right? Because if you go out in Missouri and you say, do you want to get rid of income taxes? Is there anybody going, no, we don't want to get rid of income. We love paying income taxes. So fantastic. Give us more income taxes, please. For the love of God, give us more income taxes. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah.
Right. What they're saying is, I'm strapped. I don't have a lot of money. If you have to pull a couple $1 billion out of the fraudulent school systems or DESE or one of these operations that are going on, maybe you stop building AI data centers. Maybe you stop putting money in that direction. Maybe you stop giving all of this money to the electric companies and the utility companies, and maybe the Royals and the Chiefs. Maybe stop giving all of our money away to people that have billions and start looking at the people that don't, and just get off of our backs so that we can run a clean society.
Yep. Just so people that are my age can afford a home. That's it. That's all we need.
Yep. I want to bring on Elod Gross. Is he clicked in yet? I'm going to check.
He's not clicked in yet.
Let me just make sure he's coming on.
He said, got it. Thanks. So he's probably just waiting until 10:30.
Okay.
Told him that he was on at 10:30 in the email. So,
and I'm curious where this audience is with this bill. I'm curious where the audience is. If you're in Missouri, or I wonder if this is happening around the country, because they have the same kind of thing going down in Florida, right? Where they're trying to get rid of property taxes. Right. So they're telling people in Florida that they were going to put something on the ballot to get rid of personal property taxes. So when you look at this, it looks to me like there are several states looking to eliminate taxes. That's the headline. My question is, are they really trying to eliminate taxes, or is this just another shell game? I believe this is the desire here from the leadership in the Republican Party is to create a shell game. That's what I believe is happening. I don't know that. I'm gonna watch how these bills come out. Some people that I think are very that I think are great voted for this thing, right? I just don't trust the people that make the ultimate decision in this state to shrink themselves, because if you're going to really get rid of the tax burden, you have to shrink the government. There's no other way to do it. It's a very simple black and white issue. If you want less taxes, you have to have less government. And if you want more government, you got to pay more taxes. I don't like the government at all. Zero is how much I like it. I just don't like the government. I know that we need it. I'm not an anarchist, but I want government to be very small. I don't want to recognize that it's there. I want them to get out of my way. I want my hard work to pay off for me and my family. And I just don't think that you should have the taxing power that you have just mandated down on the citizens of Missouri. Personal property tax is one that is just.
Did you see Bill Eigel?
I don't even know what to say about personal property tax other than it's not gone yet.
Did you see the video of Bill Eigel going out and talking to voters in St. Charles County, asking them, well, do you still want personal property tax? And like, no.
That's what I'm saying. Right. And he's going to get rid of it. And I think he is taking some extra money in order to make it happen. Let me text Elad here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get him. I find him entertaining. Where's he at?
Oh, someone just said, Paula White said we should send our 10% tithes income to Israel.
that might be the best answer yet.
Oh man, that's so good.
We'll get into that at some point too. I want to let that play down a little bit. You want to talk about people getting on me, Isaiah? Have I told you the stories about when I was saying what's going on with our relationship with Israel? This is crazy.
No.
I had some of these people, even in town, trying to get fired, sending in nasty emails and everything else. It was kind of a crazy situation there for a time. Didn't even feel like Elad Gross. There we go. There's Elad.
Yeah. We'll bring him in here.
Bring on Elad.
Let's see here.
There he is.
Look at this.
Look at you. You're all dressed up for me.
I every once in a while I got to work, but this was really, I have so much respect for you, Rob. So I put on the good tie.
I picture you in a pair of sweatpants underneath that tie, but that's cool.
Normally, yeah, that would be great. But no, I've got like a belt. I've got actual shoes on right now.
Not the COVID fit, right? The business up top.
Too many people got caught doing that, so I always had a heart attack, whatever, right?
What's going on, my friend? How you been?
Oh, I've been all right. We're staying busy. Obviously, a lot of stuff going on in Missouri right now, but it's been good. My little dog's doing well. Everybody's still seeing her around the state every once in a while, but
fantastic.
Well. Yeah,
I love your videos. I love them. You catch me up on what's going on so fast. I said last time, I said, how many times do you have to go through that little 3-minute clip to nail that? Because I mean, you're like a professional broadcaster knocking that out. And you said it's only 1 or 2 times. I said, well, you're talented. You should be doing some form of radio or television at that point. But I got to ask you, because your video that you put out, we just played it just a minute ago.
Okay.
Where you're talking about this tax bill. Okay.
Yes.
And most of the people that listen to my show, I believe, are on the same page as you. This should not be done in the dead of night. They believe, and these are conservatives that believe, that are with you on this, that they're passing this bill, and it's ultimately going to be a shell game because they're not looking to shrink the government, which conservatives like, right? Conservatives and libertarians want less government.
Right.
That's what we think the Republican Party is. That's why people go out and vote for them. That's what they believe, right? I don't want to get into ideological conversation, but that's why Republicans vote for. That's why conservatives vote for Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
This looks to me like they want to expand the tax base. I get the sense that they're going to pull a little shell game on us, and they're going to tell us how great it is. And the headlines are going to be Missouri's getting rid of the state income tax, and everybody's going to go yay, yay, yay. And then all of a sudden, when they go to their barber, instead of $25, it's going to be $31.50 because they're got a usage tax.
Yes. 100%.
Is that what you believe is happening?
Yeah, it is. And look, I mean, I've been on here a few times, talked about this around the state. I mean, I ran as a Democrat for Missouri Attorney General. I'm a small government guy, and I don't think that the government should have all of this power. And so if you look at the bill right now, so it's HJR 173 combined with 174 with the Senate substitute, it can get really confusing. But the bottom line is this. They are saying, oh, we're going to get rid of the state income tax, okay? And we're going to replace it. So they actually say that in the bill. We're replacing it, and all of it's not just services that are going to be taxed, like your haircut or a mechanic or things that you currently don't pay for, which, by the way, is currently banned by Missouri's Constitution.
Correct.
Right. It's going to not only do that, it's also going to increase costs for goods. So if you're going sales tax, all of that is going to go up. So if you think that you're getting a tax break what you're actually getting is a replacement of the income tax with a ton of other taxes without really any restrictions for the legislature to decide, despite the fact that the people already told them we don't want any of this. So
yeah, it feels like a trick. It feels like a trick, Eli. It feels like a trick in this. It is, right? In the sense that people think they're going to lose the income tax. They're not recognizing that the government isn't shrinking at all. They're just going to replace. They're just going to move it over to another spot. And as you rightfully said, and I used to be this guy, so I'm not blaming people who disagree with me. I used to be a high income earner, and I would complain all the time about these income taxes from the federal and state government, because I'd look at my check and I'd be, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a month coming out of it. I'm like, what in the world is going on? This is getting crazy. And I'd argue to my friends. And as I said yesterday, you should be blessed to be in that position. And I now look at it from a little different lens. Right. But now that it's not that way, now that I don't have, $25,000, $30,000 checks coming in every month, I look at at the way I spend money with the government, and it would be usage taxes, right? I'm not spending nearly as much on income tax. Mm-hmm. And now I'm looking at it going, okay, now when I go to the grocery store, is there going to be added taxes on my food? Is there going to be added taxes on all of my services, haircuts, gym memberships, all these different things? Is it just going up? And apparently it is, right? I mean, that is and they're going to carve it out for whatever lobbyist comes in, and they get their carve outs for this particular industry and that particular industry. But I think most people that have read this, even on the conservative side, say what you're basically doing is you're giving, I think it went from 3 years to 5 years, this little window where they can play with the taxes. And they're basically saying, you can trust us. You can trust us. If you just give us this ability to take out of the Constitution the ability to, because they can't raise taxes right now without the people saying it's okay. We're going to take that away from the people. You're going to give us the opportunity to determine taxes. And we're supposed to go, we would never think that you would do anything that would hurt us. No way.
They've never done that before.
No, I mean, they're all saying, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, right? And that's what this is. That's what
trust us, bro. We're good.
It's like, okay, you all know better than us again. And I mean, at the very least, one good thing is this is going to have to go to a vote of the people. So that's some protection that we still have against this. But I mean, if you look at the way that this was passed, you talk about government abuses and how they're taxing. How about government abuses and how this thing was passed? I mean, they did it in the middle of the night, which, look, I'm happy that legislators are working so hard for us, right? I just wish that this wasn't a rushed process, as some of Senator Nicola was out there saying this is a rushed process.
He just texted me saying he's glad that we're talking about it.
Great. Yeah. Well, you know what, Senator, all kudos to you, because you were fighting on behalf of the people. And you were right, because people were locked out of that building that we're all paying for. Talk about taxes. They were locked out of that building. The Sunshine Law clearly states that it's a public meeting that we should all have access to. And we were denied that. And I wonder why. Why do you lock the doors behind you when you're making such important decisions on behalf of the people that you represent? It's because you don't want the people who you're representing coming in to seeing what you're doing. And that's a big problem. And we shouldn't have that anywhere in our government, let alone in the state legislature of all places. It's ridiculous.
That leads me to my next question, because this is something. So I have an organization, and I'd love to have you sometime. I'm not somebody who hates all Democrats and liberals. I know that that's what the way society has.
Yeah, I know you like one of them. Yeah.
I don't. I had Ani on. I think she is.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
I had her on. I'm not somebody that looks at the world through that lens at all. I love all people, and if you're trying to do the right thing, I usually can figure it out at some point, whether you're up to it or not. But you made a very good point about this was not lawful, what they did last night. And my question to you, and it's one of the questions that People's Lobby Missouri tries to get answers to, where's the accountability? If you can just break the law, right, and nothing ever happens, which happens way too much in my opinion, what are citizens supposed to do? I mean, they hold me up. If I don't do something if I break the law, I'm in trouble, right? But when they break the law, it's like, well, we make the laws and we'll determine whether we're going to hold ourselves accountable or not. There's really no
rules for thee and not for me.
Yeah, there's really no avenue for citizens to push back when their own government is breaking the laws that they write.
Yeah, I mean,
any way to do it that you can think of? I mean, do I?
Well, there should be, and you all know. I mean, I sue government officials for violating the law and protecting our civil all the time, and that includes Missouri Sunshine Law. The problem is that while that law does have some bite, it takes a long time to litigate. It's expensive, and you're there as a individual citizen hoping that an attorney is going to take on the case basically for nothing. And it's not as strong as it needs to be to stop these kinds of abuses. And I wouldn't be surprised that even if this did go in front of a court, at some point, a judge would say, well, this is already done. So I'm not gonna take the extreme measure of overriding this. But that's why, you know, when in those kinds of situations where there's some lawlessness there and it's hard for individuals to enforce it on their own, we give that authority to a prosecutor or to the attorney general or to some auditor or somebody with our government. And right now, there are individuals who have the power to hold this legislature accountable. And I think, one, the governor could say, you all did this wrong. I respect this institution too much. Go back, fix, at the very least, go back and do this the right way before you bring this to me. That's one option. The attorney general could start enforcing the Sunshine Law. That would be great. But instead, we have people in government who are there to protect their own positions and to protect government, those folks who are benefiting them. And as long as we have that, we're going to have a government that's run for them and that's not run for us.
What about Isaiah came up with this idea. What about a citizen's arrest? Isaiah wants to go in there and arrest whoever locked the doors. Drag them out of there by their hair. What do we think of that idea?
If you don't mind going to prison,
yes,
go ahead.
No, that's my point.
Now, I usually recommend to clients, especially, this is free legal advice, don't go to prison.
Don't go to prison. That's the number one rule, right?
No, number one rule is do not lie to the FBI. Number 2 is don't go to prison if you can avoid it. Yeah.
I like both of those points. Next thing I have for you, because you mentioned in that video we played this morning when you were in the car with your wonderful dog,
yes,
is you're making, because you basically sounded like me. Mm-hmm. And I consider myself a conservative with a libertarian bent. And I always tell people I'm so conservative to come back around to where I'm liberal, right? That's kind of how I am. I'm so upset with government that I've turned into a liberal person.
Yeah.
What is the situation with these AI data centers? I'm watching all over the world. I live in Florida, as you know, and I go back and forth between St. Louis and Florida all the time.
Right.
We have a guy running for governor down here named Paul Renner. People reached out to me. They wanted him to come on the show. They wanted to get his message out. I liked the guy. He said all the right things. Then I played right here in Central Florida. They're putting this massive AI data center in that people are starting to talk about. I showed him a clip from the local news and I said, can you give me a response to this? No response. And what I'm finding is, as I'm watching this around the country, the Republicans really want these AI data centers. I mean, the Republican Party, the leadership within the Republican Party, they want these AI data centers more than they want to breathe fresh air. What's going on with that? Why is this happening in this manner? Is this baked in the cake? Because all these people are pushing back around the country and they're still getting implemented. It's like whatever the people say, like what happened in where was it, Isaiah, just recently, where
Franklin County.
Festus.
Festus.
They voted everybody out, but I think the damage was done before they got voted out. So
yeah,
what's the story here? Do you know?
So there's actually a lawsuit right now in Festus that's trying to avoid, all this stuff from happening. But look, I mean, look at who's pushing. It's the same thing. It's the exact same story, which is why I guess that connection happened in my video in the car with my dog. But it's these huge corporations or these people with a whole lot of money who are just looking to make a whole lot more money, and they're using government to do that for themselves. And I mean, that's not a very libertarian or conservative thing. I mean, that's not something that anybody should really be supporting. But what's happening with these data centers is it's a big rush for money because they know it's the opportunity right now. You get the construction going, and look, will it create construction jobs? They'll be there temporarily. Will it create a lot of jobs that are going to remain in the community? No, because it's not taking a whole lot of people to run those things. And then what are the negative detriments that are occurring as a result of this? It's lowering property values. It's taking up our resources. And I mean, what benefit are we really getting from that other than these folks who have a whole lot of money who are getting a lot more money? And I mean, I was through, my wife and I, we road trip around the country when we can. We were driving through Mississippi, and you're seeing a whole bunch of just folks who are trying to get these to come in as if it's going to solve the economic problems that they're having. And it at the end of the day, it really doesn't. But that's how it's being sold to folks, as if it's going to be this huge boon and everybody's going to be happy. Where in reality, that's not what's happening with these data centers. It's just rich people getting richer.
And it seems like they're focusing on rural areas where people have maybe there's an old industry that has lapsed, and they're trying to focus to create jobs there for those people. But just like you mentioned, I think it takes 10 people to run a data center after it's all up and running. So
and all
it's not
of
really
the power.
creating many jobs.
I mean, all of the power too. So then where are those costs? We have to pay for it if the rates start going up. And in Missouri right now, the all of these rate increases that they have allowed in our state legislature, again, to benefit all of these folks for this reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I've seen some proposals where it's, make your own power, or you're going to have your own agreement that's not going to, and I've seen that even in Missouri state legislature. There are some proposals right now trying to reduce rate increases on everybody else if they're going to bring these in. So maybe there's a responsible way to do these now. I will say, just this morning before I got on, I got screwed over by an AI bot with TurboTax or something that just doubled how many taxes I'm paying, and I'm trying to figure out how to stop payment on those. So I'm not very excited about AI right now generally. Yeah. And I've seen some attorneys who are using that and they make up fake cases and then they get disbarred. So I think to make some funny memes about some politicians, probably not worth it. So maybe there's something else that this thing ends up doing that's beneficial, but right now it's a negative cost for the communities where it's going.
Well, that was my next question. Are you aware of what the benefit is? This is what I keep asking. So when these people come out, we've got this guy, Kurt Hilsinger. He's been kind of moving around the state. He was on the radio station I was at previously, and he was, he's selling the idea of these AI data centers. As I understand, he's an advocate for Governor Kehoe. And I keep telling people, I said, when these people are out there, I said, don't let them get away. Don't let them wiggle off the hook. Explain the benefit, the real benefit to everyday American citizens. What is the benefit of the AI data centers? And then can you explain the concerns that citizens have about continual surveillance, and not surveillance like you can see me driving in my car with the flock cameras. I'm talking about surveillance where every move that I make is stored somewhere. And now somebody who has power can go in and look and say, okay, well, Rob drove from here to there on Tuesday. And then he went from here to here on Wednesday. Here he is making love to his wife. Here he is on the computer at 4 o'clock in the morning. Every single, and then they can make a profile of me and determine whether I'm against them or for them. You can kind of see where this could go over time. And then you add digital money to the equation. You can kind of see where a technological trap, if you are conspiratorial like I seem to be, you can see where they would take this thing if they get all the power that they want. So I see a lot of negative, and I don't see much benefit. And yet the only benefit that I hear from these people is it's going to create some jobs for a short amount of time, and you're going to love it. That's all I hear. Do you have any other, am I missing something? Or am I, because a lot of people think I'm crazy. Isaiah sometimes tells me I'm crazy. And I may be, but I'm curious, am I looking at this wrong? Are these the proper questions we should be asking authority?
Yeah, no, they are certainly the proper questions. And look, we've throughout the history of humankind, we've had developments in technology, and there have been folks who are like, I don't know about that. If I really want a factory that's doing all the work. And sometimes there are major benefits to society, sometimes not so much. And, we get to a stage like this and we start thinking, well, maybe, doing some things the old fashioned way was a little bit better. And with AI, there's a lot of promises. And we're at a stage, if you think about it objectively, there's a lot of folks making a whole lot of promises without much evidence behind it because they're hoping in the future that they're correct. But the evidence right now doesn't really bear it out. And maybe they end up being right. I don't know. But so there could be some major developments in this space. And as it's happening, there are going to be a lot of shocks to society. And that includes losing jobs. That includes, I think overall, you're probably talking about a net loss of jobs with all of these data centers, right? Because of all the things that they are going to end up replacing. Correct. And we are not prepared, especially given where our Congress is and apparently where our state legislators are, where they are captured by the same people who are making all of these promises and trying to build all these data centers and making all more money to get out of it. If that's who ends up making the decisions, of course the game is rigged at that point, and we're not getting the right results that we need until somebody who's up there starts to feel the heat and says, well, maybe we should treat everybody else a little bit.
It really comes down to pressure. That's what I tell people. You have to put so much pressure on the government that they hear your voices. They recognize they can't go to the grocery store without getting the side eye. You have to put pressure on people in order to get them to react, in my opinion. Yes. One last question for you, because I know you're an attorney. Just some things. This is a little bit off the menu. But I've been watching how we have these groups of people that come on and they walk through the bills with me, and they'll walk through the bills and the language of the bills. And they say, look, it all sounds good, but here's where the hole is in this legislation. Here's where something negative could happen. And we say, okay, we'll get that cleaned up. Can they clean it up in the House? Can they clean it up in the Senate? Just clean that up.
Right.
And what I'm finding is they don't ever want to clean up these holes. And since you're an attorney, my question to you is, legislation, do you think this is possible? And maybe nothing you've been attached to. Is it possible that legislation is being made to leave holes in it to benefit trial attorneys?
Well, I mean, there's always an argument between, there's a Trial Attorneys Association here in Missouri, and there's always the argument that, well, are they winning or is the other side winning? And you know, they are the ones who are there lobbying for their issues. And there are folks who think, you know, I mean, if you are on the defense side, you want to reduce liability for your client as much as possible. And for some, that means if you got enough money, hire a lobbyist, go to Jeff City and explain to them why all this is happening. On the other side of that, though, you have people who are injured. And in my mind, when I'm talking to a legislator about these issues, it's about what happens to the person who's getting screwed over. I mean, are they now being double screwed over because you just put a cap on the medical fees that they can recover? Because now, I mean, they need $30 million to have a life plan because they're disabled for the rest of their lives and they're going to need all this and multiple surgeries, but they can only get 400 grand from because the government has a cap. And so I think there's a negative connotation around that because there's such a campaign built around that, but we have lost sight of thinking about who are the people who are actually hurt. Can they be fully compensated, or are we actually just giving a benefit again to these huge corporations to take advantage of all of us? And I think you see that, for example, in some of this Roundup litigation right now. There's such a concerted effort to protect industry from having to pay out when they hurt people. And I think that's a big problem. So, yeah, I mean, sure.
Do you think that's intentional, though? Do you think it could be intentional, Eli? Because the reason I ask is there's conservative legislation through conservatives. Yeah. And we'll point out to these conservatives, because we're friendly with them. We'll say, wait a minute, here's a hole that could backfire on your premise. There's a hole there. Clean up that hole.
Yeah.
And then they don't want to clean up the hole. And when I see that they don't want to clean up the hole, my mind goes to, well, a lot of these people are attorneys and they're in big attorney firms.
Yes.
And if they leave this hole open, somebody's going to challenge it at some point. And then here come the trial attorneys to make a bunch of money, when all you'd have to do is clean up the language so that we don't have this gray area for people to fight over. I'm watched this happen too many times to think this is all happenstance. I'm starting to think that there are many attorneys that go off to Jefferson City in Washington, D.C. And I'm thinking, if I'm trying to get something done, I'm going to close the language so that shall is the answer. And now there's not a lot of shall. There's a lot of, well, I could maneuver this. I could make this argument. And then all of a sudden you've got millions of dollars going back and forth between these big trial attorney operations.
Yeah.
It seems to me like this is happening. And I don't want to, I don't want to name names, but I don't understand why they're not cleaning up the holes that they're going to be challenged at some point. It's like what happened with the Chiefs and the Royals, right? Yeah. Everybody knew that was an unconstitutional law. I talked about it in my show for 45 days before it even went into effect. And then of course it gets struck down, but the property tax situation that everybody was excited for, that's why the supposed conservatives voted for it, that was struck down. But then the Royals and the Chiefs get their money exactly the way everybody described it ahead of time. It's like everybody that knew what was happening was describing it, but the politicians acted like they didn't know any better, and they couldn't figure it out. I'm like, well, I'm just a shoe salesman from Florida and I can figure it out. Why can't you figure it out, Eli?
No, I now I understand. Yeah. So when you're talking about constitutional litigation, challenges to the statutes, there are times. So there's a couple reasons why that might happen. One is, sure, like intentionally, I'm leaving this blank, and maybe I think most of the time when you see that, it's somebody has made a mistake and they really don't know, or they were pretending like they did, but somebody else might have written some language for them, given that to them, and then they ran with it and they were like, oh, well, no, this is great. This is absolutely wonderful. Sometimes, though, that happens when you have debate and the two sides, they need enough votes from one person and somebody kind of want to, they're on the side of leaving a loophole. Maybe they don't totally agree with what you have, but they'll vote for that. So there's some gamesmanship there too. But I mean, honestly, if it's a law that's controversial or somebody's getting one benefit, somebody isn't, it almost always ends up in some kind of litigation anyway. So, I mean, you're going to get sued.
And there's a lot of money to be made in that game, right?
There can be. Yeah. I haven't found it yet. I guess I do too much free stuff for people, but
that's what I like about you.
Yeah.
That's what I like. I like to have people on that are doing things for the right reasons. If money comes, I say it all the time.
I love it. Yeah.
I'm not stupid. If the money comes my way, I'll do it. But it's not number one. It's not the dominant priority for me. So I could screw everybody over to make a dime. Eli, always good to see you, my friend. You're always welcome on the show. I wish you the very best. Thanks for coming on, my friend.
You all too. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Eli Gross, everybody. As I always tell him, he's my favorite Democrat because he's willing to. Every time I call him, he's willing to come on.
That's
every
awesome.
single time. And I would assume he's going to run for office again because I think he's in the political game now. But I just like him. I think he's got a very affable personality, if you will, and he's always willing to bounce it around. He never says, Rob, what are you going to ask me? You know, most Democrats don't want to come on because they think I'm going to attack them. I said, I'm not attacking anybody ever. That's not happening. But I would like to make some points and see what your answers are. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, I have a friend of a friend who's a Democrat and very involved, you know, goes to the UN. He's very politically connected. And it's funny that we agree on a lot of things, you know, because we're of the younger generation. And so we might look at things a little bit differently. And so we find that we actually agree on more than we probably disagree on. It's just maybe some of these social issues that we might disagree on.
That's usually where it's at, right?
Yeah.
And and social issues, that's what we should be fighting over. Social issues, like, you know, where do you want society to go? You know, do you want abortion on demand? Is that something you want as a liberal? Is that something that is really important to you? And let's fight that out and see if that's good for society.
Yeah.
And then have a vote in a reliable election.
Yep.
The reason people are so upset with each other, I think, I know, at least from my point of view, is you don't have any trust in the election. So you don't even know where the country is going to begin with. And then you can't get anybody within the government to focus on cleaning up the elections. And if you even, despite the fact that 25 years they've been complaining about stolen elections through machines and through voter rolls and through mail-in balloting and all kinds of different reasons, well, they don't seem to want to clean it up very much.
Nope. But
remember, Isaiah, if it doesn't make sense, it really does make sense.
Yep.
Right.
But Fox News got sued by Dominion, you know, so they're
real fast on that one. You're a very smart guy.
Yeah.
I said from the very beginning, I think it was $787 million. Like, what lawsuit could you go through where you couldn't spend $787 million and postpone that thing until the year 2095 to where everybody's dead, and or just win your case? Why would you settle for almost $1 billion in a lawsuit where you have the truth on your side? Make that make sense to me, unless you just wanted to scare everybody else from talking about it.
Right. You're trying to flip the narrative there.
Yeah.
That's something that's super interesting to me is, hey, we know it and they still know it, yet they'll settle.
Yes.
So very interesting.
All right. Let me
People
move
are
on.
saying that Elad was a great guest. Very good interview.
I think Elad's fantastic. And I figured her first name was Ani was her name. She was on the show. I'll have Democrats, Republicans, Independents. I'll have candidates. I'll have whoever wants to have a conversation, but a real one.
Yeah.
If you want to have a real conversation about making life better for people, you're always welcome to come on. And we're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I just hope people understand.
Oh yeah.
That Isaiah and I we're not looking to be in a box. We're looking to get this information out. We're looking to bring people in. We're not looking to cause fights with everybody. That's not where Isaiah's way too nice for that. I don't think he could put up with it. It's a little different than the radio because in the radio, the reason I was going about some things, you know, I would lose my temper on occasion. And I shouldn't even say I was losing my temper. I allowed my temper to be seen.
Yeah.
Was to get the people that were listening to the radio station, because a big portion of that audience was so behind Donald Trump that I thought, wait a minute, I understand you support him. I got it. I understand that you support him. That doesn't mean you support him when he breaks the Constitution. That doesn't mean you support him when he lies to your face. You can't just say that every lie that you can verifiably show you is some kind of chess, because that just doesn't make any sense, right? And all I'm saying is you can support him till the cows come home, and I'm right there with you. He's not going to be in another election, so you don't have to worry about hurting him politically. He's only going to be the president for a few more years. But question these things so that you can have an open conversation with the people that don't like you and you don't like them. But every time I did it, you know, I would have people just attacking me as though I was a Democrat shill. I was a this. I'm like, I just want to have real conversations. And Donald Trump is contradicting himself every single day. And we should get to the bottom of what's going on there. And as I keep telling the people on the other side of the fence, it is our duty to question people. That is what all journalism and the free press is about, is to question authority. If you're unwilling to question authority, then you're not a journalist. That's the whole premise of the First Amendment, is to make sure that you can question power.
Yeah.
And if we're laying in bed with power, as I like to say, spooning with power, if you're spooning with power, then you're going to be wrapped up in that game forever, because you're never going to get answers that make your life better. Right. You're just saying, well, they're better than the Democrats.
Yep. Oh, it's
better than the Democrats. So I have to vote for this
Republican.
This Republican has lied to my face over and over, told me he wouldn't tax me, and then they taxed me. They told me they were going to get rid of abortion, and they opened it up for abortion on demand. At some point, you got to go, wait a minute, that's my party. Donald Trump is the leader of that party. He's the one that could be on the bully pulpit every day talking about how to clean up these elections every single day, saying we have to get the elections straightened out, because if you can't pick your government in a constitutional republic, then you're not free. It's that simple. If you cannot pick your representative government In a constitutional republic, by definition, you're no longer free because you do not have people representing your interests.
No.
Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay. Let's get into, because you mentioned MK Ultra, and I want to get into that just a bit. And this is now coming out again from inside the Capitol
Gotta
building.
take a break soon. I got to use the restroom.
Do I have a long? Okay, let's do this then, because I'll give you time. Let's start with Catherine Austin Fitts. We'll get down to the MK Ultra, but Catherine Austin Fitts. It is. How about I'm like a camel, no problem at all. Clip number 15. This is
okay. 15. Okay.
15. This is Catherine Austin Fitts talking about Donald Trump, the AI data centers, and all of the problems that are beginning to be built around us that most people are not paying attention to. Check it out. Catherine Austin Fitts. Long clip. Clip number 15. Take your break. Thanks, Isaiah.
This administration is doing to build a control grid. And from the moment they got into office in January 2025, they've been operating at high speed to build the whole thing. And we can talk about what that looks like. But the other one is called, was Jeffrey Epstein the father of programmable money? And I would recommend reading it. It points you to a Substack that is the best thing I've ever read on Epstein after Whitney Webb's books. And what it describes is how the Rothschild syndicate works. And which is basically the Epstein was part of that syndicate, if you want to call it. And that's very much equity in and around the central banks. So it does a very good job of sort of describing the syndicate. And if you look at this administration is very much run by that syndicate. And whatever is going on in the Middle East is very much what that syndicate wants. And so the question is, what's really going on? And what I will tell you is the official explanations, as usual, are baffling. And what I can't tell is whether the goal is intentionally to shut down the straits, or we're looking at the most remarkable act of incompetence on the part of the U.S. that I could possibly imagine. So, I never want to underestimate the possibility of incompetence, but usually incompetence is an air covers. It's a story. So let's look at what's happening. And let's go back to Gaza for a second. For 2.5 years, what we've heard is that a group of people who are under complete sanction in the financial system can still, Hamas can still field weapons and armies, and an empire that can slant drill oil and gas and mining, miles underground, can't deal with tunnels under Gaza. Okay. Makes absolutely no sense, because if you understand what it takes to transact, buy weapons, ship in weapons, do all of that, that can't operate given the surveillance and control systems that are in place, unless somebody wants it to. So you're looking at a game that allows you to basically kill, genocide, and take the land, because you need an excuse to do that. You can't. The empire never likes to go in and say, look, we're just going to kill all of you and take your stuff because we want to. And then our insiders are going to make a fortune using taxpayers' money to build a new development. You can't say that. So you need a cover story, right? Okay. So just like we had this baffling cover story, now we have the Iranian.
So this is Catherine Austin Fitts. She's one of my favorites to pay attention to. Now, again, I don't know that I say to everybody, when I watch Catherine Austin Fitts, she gets a lot of things right. She's predicted things pretty much right on the money for a couple of years now that I've been paying attention to her. And what she's describing is what I believe is happening. And again, you just go by what you know, and this is my perception of the world. I think that these wars are intentional. I think that the reason we are given for the wars are nonsensical. They don't make any sense to me. Therefore, there's another reason to do it. And as she's saying, you always have to have a cover story. You have to have a reason to go in and take people's things.
Of course.
Right? When we were watching that video, and you might have been watching the same one as me, Isaiah, where this guy from Australia flies into Tehran, and he's walking around the streets of Tehran, and he is getting information. And then he goes to the embassy. That was a big story in 1979 when hostages were taken in the American embassy. And it is basically, it shows, it's got cartoons or mural drawings, I guess I should say, of American soldiers with guns pointed at Iranians as they're running away.
Yeah.
It paints it's the propaganda on the other side is the way I would put it.
Yeah.
The propaganda on the other side is you're in our country You're destroying our country. You're coming after our people. And regardless of whether that's true, if we're coming there as liberators or what have you, that's not what they believe.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? That's not what they believe.
Oh, yeah.
They believe that America is in their land for oil. That's what they think they're there for.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you talk about the Straits of Hormuz and all this other stuff, and that would create that would create a lot of money for some very powerful people that lobbied the American government. Would it
25% of the world's oil goes through there.
How much money would that make some people, right? So you have to take these things into consideration. You can't take the American government at face value for everything that they say. And I don't think it's anti-American to question your government that stuck needles in your arm by mandate, left your borders wide open, and create war all over the world. I think you start.
Isn't that what the Constitution tells us? Is that we're
supposed
to be able to? Demands it, right?
It demands it. Yep. Let me play a little bit more for. I'm trying to think. This is an 8-minute clip. Let me play a little bit more
from her too, as well.
Play a little bit more of this one. This is Catherine Austin Fitz. Everybody, check it out.
Who, despite extraordinary sanctions, have been able to build a very impressive military capability, and the United States is helpless to stop them. Now, here's why that is baffling to me. You have the U.S. military has exponentially more funding than any military on the planet, and they so for the last 2 decades they've had anywhere from $500 billion to $1 trillion. Now it's up to $1 trillion a year. And what's the most important thing in the central banking warfare model that a military needs to do? What do we know? If you're going to be the reserve currency, what's the number one thing you as the military must be able to do? You have to protect the trade routes. You have to protect the sea lanes. The control, the trade model backing the sterling as reserve currency and the U.S. sterling was the Navy and policing the sea lanes. And the Bretton Woods model was an open trade model where everybody, the U.S. said, look, we'll protect the sea lanes. Everybody gets to trade as long as they play ball with the rules. And we're going to globalize and create a highly interdependent, massively interdependent global society, right? And global economy. So there's a wonderful interview, I'm sure I've told you about it before, in 1994 by Sir James Goldsmith, where he talks about why doing this is certifiably insane. But he does a great description of globalization and what it's going to do and the interdependencies it creates. Okay, so the one thing the U.S. as reserve currency must do is make sure its Navy can protect the sea lanes. Now, what is the most important choke point in the whole global trade system?
Yeah, Strait of Hormuz.
Okay, and the South China Sea, you've got the Panama Canal, but you've got a couple of strategic trade points, but as a percentage, the Straits of Hormuz are hugely important. So now we're listening to the U.S. say, oh, we're helpless up against Iran, who's been suffering under, extraordinary sanctions that if that was really true, they wouldn't have all these amazing hypersonic missiles, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And now what we're watching is the entire global economy being severely shut down. So let me give you an example. We're in March. What is March?
What do you mean? What is March?
It's the spring, right?
Right.
What happens in the spring?
Yeah. Less demand for fuel perhaps in the West.
No.
Wrong.
Come on, you're in the Netherlands. You're in the Netherlands, one of the greatest food exporters in the world.
Yeah, right. Growing season, yeah.
Farmers plant in the spring. Right now, we are shutting down the critical ingredients to most European factories who make fertilizer, right? Okay. And so by the time that gets through, whenever it gets through, it's going to be too late to make the fertilizer. You're going to miss the whole spring season. So I don't know. I just saw a headline, Goldman Sachs, leading member of the New York Fed, says that it's going to be shut down for 21 days, right?
Yeah.
Missed the planting season. Okay, so if you look at the material coming through that's critical to chip production, the material coming through the straits that's critical to fertilizer and food, and the material coming through that's critical to energy, you're talking about massive dislocation of the global economy, and if it goes on for long enough. I mean, we have Peru, Thailand, other people talking about doing COVID kind of shutdowns to save gas and fuel.
Yeah.
Right. But you're talking about intentionally shutting down the global economy. And it didn't start with Iran, and it didn't start with the United States. It started with the City of London. So Lloyd's of London shut down the straits with all their insurance company friends and reinsurance company friends, right? So the city shuts down the straits, and now the Iran is helping supposedly to keep it shut down.
Yeah.
Do you buy that story that the U.S. military is helpless?
No, but what I struggle with is it seems like a lot of countries and citizens across the world are going to suffer as a result of this war and as a result of the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So there will be global disorder and chaos to a large extent. And even if you look at Japan, they're especially vulnerable. But in the Second World War, Japan did Pearl Harbor, at least that's the common story, because they were shut off from the oil market. So when countries are in desperate position, they're going to take desperate measures. So this could easily lead to a much larger world war, this conflict in the Middle East. So that's a huge gamble then that the global elite, for example, are taking, because they run a risk themselves too. If we have a nuclear escalation and a nuclear holocaust, what's in it for them?
So, well, what's in it for them is implementing the control grid and depopulation together.
Yeah.
That's what's in it for them. If this is, because we don't know yet. I think it's too early. I can't tell whether you're looking at massive incompetence on the basis of the U.S. or you're looking at an intentional desire to shut down. So this is COVID 2.0.
Wow. COVID 2.0. What do you think about that?
Well, they're starting to get shutdowns around the world, is what she was saying.
Yeah.
And she made some comments that I was watching the other night. She said she basically predicted how long this thing was going to go. And she just seems to be right on a lot of these things. I was watching it, I'm like, well, I said, was that recently? Like, did she just say this, or did she know this was going to happen?
Yeah.
So I put it into AI, and AI said, no, this was on, March 21st or something like that.
Yeah, because she goes, where are we in? It's March right now, right?
Yeah, that was it then. So that's the one. So I said, when was this done? And she basically, now they're saying the straits are open. Donald Trump's got a peace deal going on with Lebanon. All of these things that certain
the war is over.
The war is over, and Donald Trump is the hero. Now it's the 9th war that he stopped, and this type of thing. And I just listen. Israel started bombing Lebanon, which is run by a Christian leader.
Yeah.
Killing Christians all over the South with American weaponry through Israel. And then Donald Trump comes in to say he stopped another war from happening. It's just kind of hard to stomach the absolute insanity of some of the things that are going on. But again, the problem is nobody really understands global politics. Nobody understands what's actually happening. They're too busy trying to feed their families, and they don't have time to pay attention to, or they can't even seek it out, right? It's very hard to even
it's not
seek
even
out
a war between
real
Lebanon
information.
and Israel. That's the thing, is that it's not the Lebanese government fighting the Israeli government. And so that's why I don't see it as a solved war. This is Hezbollah, who is a proxy from Iran.
Correct.
Attacking Israel, and Israel's attacking them. It's not Lebanon versus Israel. It's Iran versus Israel via Lebanon. And so you solve this war. No, you might have created some type of ceasefire for temporary, which I think Israel already bombed Lebanon after that. But it's not really solving the problem until we withdraw.
I don't think you solve the problem exactly until you withdraw all these people and just bring our people home and say, listen, if you want to fight it out. But no more of our soldiers and our money going in that direction. But maybe I'm just naive.
And I said this already earlier this week, but it's going to be automatic, mandatory enrollment into the selective service now for young men, and so that's never happened before. And I don't know why they would do that unless there's some, like you said, some plan in the background, some 5D chess maybe that they're.
That's not law, is it? That's not law. That wasn't passed into law. What you just described, is
there's
it?
There's something. I'll pull it up here while we're
I've heard about that.
There's something new with the selective service that just rolled out to somehow automatically enroll. Because I used to have to. I'm above the age now, but I used to have to fill something out in the mail and send it back. And so I think that something is is changed with that now.
Could you imagine if there was a draft and you were 18 years
I
old
know.
right now and you got your card called and you had to go fight in Iran? Could you
Could you
imagine?
imagine? I know I think that that generation wouldn't be able to handle that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
Zionist Agenda 2030. I like that.
Yeah, well, so I want to get to that, right? Because what she's
Yep.
describing is that originally where she started with that was the Donald Trump administration is here to put in the control grid. Now, I used to play this clip on my show all the time. Catherine Austin Fitts said before Trump was elected, about 6 months before he was elected, she was on a program and they basically were talking about the election being stolen. You remember back to those days, right? Where they thought the elections in 2024 were going to be stolen from Trump. She said, no. She goes, the global elites want Trump to be president. She goes, because the way you have to look at this from, she calls it Mr. Global, from Mr. Global's perspective is they now have the technology they believe to put this thing in total lockdown, meaning that you're going to comply with the wishes of the state, or you're not going to be able to get out of the trap because of digital money and tech surveillance and the ability to turn off your car. Remember, now cars have this ability now that you can turn them off remotely. Right? That was in the 2026 bill that Thomas Massey fought against, but made it through. The Republicans love to be able to turn off your cars remotely. I mean, because they're going to save you from yourself.
Yeah.
So now they're going to turn off your cars remotely. They're giving you digital currency that's going to be global. We're in a very weird financial situation. And now they're putting in AI data centers to make sure that and flock cameras to make sure they have total control of surveillance of all people in America. So you can kind of see that if you don't see a problem there, that you should see a problem there. If you think it's conspiracy and it's never going to play out that way, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to roll the dice on that. Do you, Isaiah? I would like to.
No, that's the global
don't have that power.
agenda. That is the globalist agenda. If you look to the EU, you look to China, you look to these other places that were kind of adapting their surveillance protocols, I guess you could say, right? Is you go to the UK, CCTV everywhere. You go to China, CCTV everywhere. Not only that, they're tracking your social credit score. Did you not cross the crosswalk where you're supposed to? We're going to ding you for that, And that's what I see everyone online talking about where we're headed, and that's the only result that I can see, because if other governments have already played this out, what's going to make it different here?
Right. Agreed. And I think it's global governing starting to take shape. It doesn't feel like that to everybody because we all think we have our own presidents, and this and that and the other. But their actions would lead you to think something's just a little off, right?
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Something funny about that Rupert Murdoch documentary that I'm watching right now is that they talked about President Trump back when Rupert Murdoch was trying to start Fox News, and about how Donald Trump was influential in the New York scene and politics already. And so, that's obviously we knew Donald Trump. I mean, back in the 90s, I think he said he was joking about running for president, but the idea that Trump's a businessman and now all of a sudden he's coming into politics, that's the narrative that I felt like was being pushed.
He's the outsider.
Yeah, he's the outsider, and
he's the guy with $10 billion from the outside.
Exactly. And simply not the truth. He's involved with all these globalist people who are trying to
build golf courses all over the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not easy to do. You can't just go into somebody's foreign country and go, hey, I'm a billionaire from New York. I want to take up all this land. I'm going to start building a golf course for myself.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have connections in high places. So I think people should recognize that not everything may be as we believe. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm a little more skeptical than I used to be. Can we play one more clip from her?
Of course.
Let's do this one. Because this is the one. I have a guy named Jim.
I could watch her all day.
I do like her a lot. And she's kind of funny to look at, but I dig her.
Yeah.
I mean, because when the glasses you get the glare off the glasses.
Right. It's so funny.
Not her looks necessarily. I mean, just the way the shiny lights were on her glasses in that particular clip that we played. But in this next one, she talks about something that I have a friend who's in the election game with me. He's very concerned about my position on elections. He says, Rob, you're never going to be able to get things done at the state level election wise to make a difference because we're so close to the end here. They are putting this trap into place. And if the Democrats are able to impeach Trump, they take over the government. They they love power and they want this surveillance. And I'm talking about the Democrats, the perception of the Democrats in DC. Right. And I said, well, I don't think it's that way. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a drip, drip, drip. I think we do have time to solve our own problems, and we got to start small within the states. I've always said Missouri becomes an example. We work with our people in the House and the Senate because I believe that there are good people in Missouri that are in a bad system. I believe that I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. Right.
Yeah. We know some of them.
Yeah. So if we can, kind of say, hey, listen, play ball with us. Let's get this state back in order. It's going to be good for you guys in the long run. You don't want to play along with this corporate agenda. You don't want to play along with this globalist agenda in the state of Missouri. Not going to work out well for everybody. You guys know that. You have to see that if you're paying attention to politics. You're in that world. You should see what is happening here. So that was my take on it. And Jim's Jim's very smart. And I don't think he thinks I'm very smart. He's like, no. You're basically telling me I'm crazy and I'm wrong. And he may be right. I think he's a very bright guy. So I could be looking at this completely wrong. And that's why I said, Andrew yesterday agreed with him.
Yep.
Well, apparently Catherine Austin Fitts agrees with both of those people.
Wow.
And not me again. It's making me a little bit nervous. I might have to rethink my position here because some very bright people are saying, Rob, you're wrong. This is a short-term thing. You got very limited time to get this baby figured out. Here she is. She's saying in 2 years, the way technology is spreading and the way AI is spreading and the way it's being implemented and used, that within 2 years, the technological trap will be set and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. Check it out. It's clip number 2.
It's the end of currency, right? Because it's simply a rule system, and you can earn credits in the rule system, and the rule system can apply all sorts of carrots and sticks. So if you're very, very good, you could get more credits. If you're bad, you could have your credits taken away. So the big issue here, if you look at the world that we've grown up in, most of us have grown up, whether Canada, the United States, in a world where the bankers control monetary policy and the people's representatives control fiscal policy, which means the people's representatives set taxes and then determine how the money's going to be spent. Now the bankers in the system can control what taxes are. If they want to raise taxes, they just take it out of your account. You have no control, and there's no need to vote for representatives because the bankers can control it directly, and they can decide how it's spent. And if you don't like that, they can turn off your money.
Interesting. And so how, this seems like something that's well into the future. Is there going to be a point when this becomes official? How do we get to there from where we are right now? What are they doing?
This is not far in the future. This is coming now. If you look at the debanking, you look at the control of credit cards, if you look at the new stablecoins putting terms and conditions that say you're not allowed to buy, you can't buy a bow and arrow with Circle until there was a whole hullabaloo and they had to change their terms and conditions. But this is here now, and most importantly, the laws and the systems are being put in place that make this possible. So now is the time. We have maybe at most 2 years to do the things we need to do to prevent this from clicking in and going live. So when they say it's 2030 and you have no assets, they're serious. They're creating a system where they can literally take all your assets, including your kids.
Wow.
Right? And she's the thing about Catherine Austin Fitts is a very accomplished person, a very serious person, somebody who left the United States back when nobody thought anything was going down. We're talking about in the early 90s. She escaped into the Netherlands and has been running the Solari Report from there. And like I said, if you go to the Solari Report and watch how she explains how the world works, you just tell me where she gets anything wrong. That's all I'm saying. And she's been right about everything for the last 2 years that I've been watching her. So I pay attention to what she says. I'm not endorsing it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if somebody who's been very good predicting the future says that in 2 years from now you're going to be in a situation where we can't unwind it, you're in a technological trap. You might want to pay attention.
Reminds me of do you know Professor Zhang? Yeah. So it reminds me very similar.
Yeah, and I wonder about him too because he popped out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's another thing that I have against him.
She's been around for a long time. She's been around.
He just kind of.
Yeah, she's been writing books and she's been on this for long before COVID and all that other stuff. That's why I pay a little bit more attention to what she has to say. Can we go to clip number 2? This is Elon Musk. So Elon Musk yesterday, he put out information that we're going to universal income here before too terribly long. Now, universal income is the idea that people are not going to have to work anymore. The robots are going to do all of the work for us. AI is going to be our brain. We're not going to need doctors. He said in 10 years, you're not going to need doctors because everything that that is in your through DNA and decoding DNA, you can just go and get your answers from a simple blood test, and the AI will tell you what to do, how to fix yourself, everything else. What could go wrong with that, Isaiah?
Yeah,
what could go wrong with that?
We got Mayor Spencer just got the St. Louis Guaranteed Basic Income Program, I think, started there.
Yeah,
in
there
St.
you go.
Louis. Yeah,
There
so
you
it's
go.
already even
It's coming.
Missouri.
It's coming. And they're going to roll this out as though it's a great thing. You can only imagine how American citizens are going to react when they say, listen, come January 1st, 2029, you can work if you want to. Like, you can keep your doctor if you want to. You can work if you want to, but we're going to give you enough money to survive in this society because the robots are coming. They can take your jobs. We've got AI to figure out all the brain power. So all you smart people, we really don't need you anymore because AI is so advanced that we don't need your brains anymore. We're just going to have people run the AI systems, and you can work if you want to. Universal income as described by Elon Musk. It's all starting to fit together very quickly, isn't it? Clip number 2.
I don't think we should be sort of complacent. We do need to be careful because the future is a range of possible outcomes, and they're not all great. But at this point, I do agree with you that it's likely to be great. It's probably 80% likely, maybe more likely to be great. And I do think we'll have universal high income. We're basically just issuing money to people, and the really just because the output of goods and services will so far exceed the money supply that that effectively you have deflation, because just deflation is just the ratio of the outputs of goods and services to the money supply. So if the rate of growth of goods and services far exceeds the rate of growth of the money supply, which I predict will happen, then you will have deflation.
What do you think, Jose? Do you think life will be better if nobody has to work?
No.
I don't think so either. I like these.
I mean, we already see that with welfare
usefulness,
programs.
right?
What'd you say?
You need usefulness at some point. You have to be for something.
I mean, even in jobs that I've had in the past, sometimes I felt like I was just a number and I didn't have something that I could, a higher calling or something that I was actually striving to do. And I left those jobs because I didn't feel like I had something that I was accomplishing necessarily. Right. And so I know people that I know that I'm different and that I have to have goals and things like that. But I think there's more people than not that also have to have goals and some type of challenge in their life and want to do bigger and better things instead of just sit in the recliner and listen to the box tell me what to do.
It's so funny you say that because when COVID was going on, I've told the story many times, but I don't think you've heard it. I was working for a very wealthy guy out of Los Angeles, and COVID shut our business down. I mean, it just made
Jewish guy.
He was Jewish, yeah.
Yeah, hey, just so everyone knows, you're not anti-Semitic, right?
From Iran, by the way. He left Iran in 1980 when the Shah fell. That's the story behind the guy, yeah. And I love it. He was wonderful to me. That's all I can tell you. And when COVID came, we had just put all of our shoes into the marketplace. I cannot wait because I'm like, okay, here we go. He was the kind of guy that was, if we got our business off the ground, he'd made deals with me that he said, Rob, I got plenty of money. This is really for you. If you can do this, I'd love to help you. And so he puts all the money into buying the shoes, all the marketing. I spent 2 years getting all these shoes placed in the market. I am so excited in life at that particular point because, as I said before, the driving factor in my life at one point was to make as much money as I could. Right? That was just how I thought I'd take care of my family and my parents, and I just wanted.
And you're making a way of something new.
Exactly, and for my own, of course, for my own ego, it's just nice to get something off the ground. Agreed, but I'm saying, from just the money standpoint, I've never been somebody who really necessarily cared about money. I cared about taking care of my family, and I needed the money to do that. That's how I look at money in general. I'm kind of a hippie, if you will. My friends used to call me a business hippie, and I said, well, that's kind of true. Right? So when all of this fell apart because of COVID, he says, Rob, I'm going to give you, I think it was $10,000 a month. I'm going to give you $10,000 a month. Hang on until we can find another business. There's really nothing happening now because even though the economy isn't really shut down, it's shut down. Nobody's really moving around. Nobody's spending money. So we'll try to figure out what we're going to do. Just stay home, relax with your wife, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. So this goes on where I'm just collecting a check and basically not doing much. I'm going out to see him maybe once a month, and I'm spending a day in the office with the people out in the office in LA. And my wife goes, you like this? And I said, what? She goes, kind of implying that I'm pretty ambitious, and she doesn't like going to work and coming home exhausted, and I'm snuggled up on the couch watching sports. She just wasn't down with it.
And you're making 2 times more than her, probably 3 times more than her.
No, she's a high earner too, but it was not a high earner, but she's kind of a high earner too. And the point she was trying to make wasn't that I was,
No.
she just thought that I should either go find another gig, get involved in the radio, which
Because of who you are.
Yeah, she just wanted to see me a little more active. My wife is not fond of laziness at all. My wife is up at 5 a.m. and like a machine all day long. So if she sees some laziness
Mine
in
too.
me, it's unattractive to her, right?
Yes.
And she sees me getting fat and hanging out on the sofa every day, and she's like,
when my wife asks me to do something, I have to do it then. It's not.
That's her.
it's
That's my
not,
wife.
You know, no, not in an hour, babe. No, now. I need you to do it now.
We can't eat. We cannot eat. When I eat, I want to relax after I eat. No.
I know.
Not with my wife. No, when you eat and you got 5 people eating and the kitchen's a mess, plates everywhere, this and that and the other, we have to clean it up before. As soon as you take the last bite, all right, everybody, here we go.
Let's go.
It's get the kitchen cleaned up. That's how she likes to roll. And what am I going to do? I clean up.
They make us better.
They make us better. You definitely got a lot of work to make me better. That's for sure. But having said all that, I kept saying to myself, well, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
And you mentioned MK Ultra earlier. So I have been, I went through all of the videos that were available on MK Ultra. I went back to the church hearings in the 70s to find out what was being said about MK Ultra. I read the book by Tom O'Neill, who just won't give me an interview. Tom O'Neill, I want you to. I got to get him. He responds to me, but he'll never give me a date to come on because he says he's busy writing his second book. But he explains MK Ultra and the CIA as it applies to Charles Manson. But it's raised my awareness of what was going on within the idea of MK Ultra. The idea of MK Ultra is that through repetition, through LSD, through certain types of stimuli, I guess is the way I would put it, that they can tap into your subconscious and make you do things that you wouldn't normally do and think and feel things that you wouldn't normally feel. It goes on to say, if you're listening to the Jolly West version, that they can now implant memories into your head that aren't real memories. They can plant memories into your head and they can pull out memories from your mind. Whether you believe that or don't believe that is not it's not my call. I don't know, but they're saying that they can do it. There's private conversation going forth between Jolly West, who worked in the MK Ultra program for the United States government, and a guy named Sid Gottlieb, who was the overseer of the CIA MK Ultra experiments from the federal government. And there's messages going back and forth that Tom O'Neill lays out in his book. Okay. So there's something to it. And there used to be documentaries done on ABC News back in the 70s when this conversation was going on. People were very interested in it. And now they say they're going to get back into it again. Lauren Boebert says there's going to be a congressional investigation into MK Ultra. Clip number 3, I just want people to hear it. I don't trust the government, so I'm very skeptical of this, but the fact that they're going to talk about MK Ultra in some way for me is exciting because it's something that just fascinates me when I watch Sirhan, who says, I got nothing. I don't dislike Bobby Kennedy. Bobby Kennedy, the original Bobby Kennedy. I have nothing against him. I don't know why I shot him. I have no recollection of it whatsoever. And he's been saying this from the beginning. It's just, and then you have Jack Ruby, who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and he pleaded. He was Jolly West was his court-appointed psychologist, psychiatrist, or whatever it is, and he basically said he was insane before he took the stand and took trial back in that's the situation with John F. Kennedy. Very odd, you must admit. I think he's been involved with some other people as well, and it always ends up where these people can't remember. They don't know what they did. They don't know why they did it, this kind of thing. So I'd love to see an investigation. It appears that's going to happen. Here's Lauren Boebert, clip number 3. Check it out.
Paulina Luna, she chairs our declassification task force. She says the next thing we're bringing up is MK Ultra. Let's go. We have brought in members of the CIA in the past before Congress regarding MK Ultra, and we kind of just tapped them on the wrist and said, okay, please don't do that anymore. But there was nothing to actually enforce it. So is this still a program? Is this still going on? There are so many things that people do run with because there are no answers. And so maybe it's grown bigger than it should because there's no transparency. Yes. I want to bring transparency.
You bring up a great point, because we were told there's nothing in the Epstein files, but there's so much in the Epstein files. Right. Actually, as somebody who's gone through thousands of them and tens of thousands, there's a lot. There's so much there, and we were lied to and said to move along. There's nothing there. Yeah, that's not true. Correct. And I think the same thing has happened with Anthony Weiner's laptop. And the more that you follow the story, his wife divorcing him, the Democrat Party deep sixing the guy, right, putting him in jail, like doing everything they possibly can to get rid of him. As far as I know, he's still alive. But clearly there's some type of cover up going on there. So you're saying you're going to get it. You're saying you're going to subpoena and get it.
I'm working every angle to get my hands on that laptop. Okay. Absolutely. And
FBI has it. I didn't actually know who has it. So the FBI has it.
Yes, the FBI still has it, but there was nothing to. So
I wonder what you think about these narratives that they're spreading out there. Do you think there's going to be an MK Ultra investigation, that everybody's going to get down to the bottom of MK Ultra, how it worked, what the processes were?
No,
I don't think so.
If we can't get the Epstein files, and how much evidence you can clearly see. I know that it's beyond a reasonable doubt, and I understand that from a lawyer standpoint. You know what I mean? But
yes,
like you were talking about earlier, I'm just a shoe salesman from Florida, and I'm connecting these dots. Is that? Am I really that much smarter? You know,
right.
I don't think
and
so.
It's not even smarter. When you say that, it apparently defends people, and I don't mean to do that at all. And I know you don't mean to do that.
No.
It just means that I
say it sarcastically too.
Well, you're invested in certain things, right? You're invested into certain topics that you're studying, that you have more frame of reference, put it that way. And if you are a pattern recognizer, which, some people are really good at it, some people are not so good, some people are in the middle. But if you recognize the patterns, these are not difficult patterns to recognize. This is not something. This is just paying attention to it, and you'll see all these things start to take shape.
I've always believed Pizzagate because of that. Because I
got a buddy on here that's listening right now. That he's a good friend of mine. He's so invested in that Pizzagate story. He knows everything. He's the most crazy. I got 2 people in my life that are involved. Well, 3, right? Rick Babitz, who advertises with me, is like a machine when it comes to information about the history of economics, the history of the deep state, if you will, and the history of.
He's a good money guy.
Yeah, he really knows a lot of this stuff. Then I have my friend Everett Jones, who is really into the American sovereign idea that, hey, we got our constitutional rights stripped away from us through a trick. And he explains all that, says we shouldn't be paying income taxes. They were determined to be unconstitutional before then they were made constitutional. And, he just gave a speech that I was at where they said it was voluntary, right? And then my other friend, Mitch is somebody who is so busted up and aggravated over the Pizzagate story because he's so positive that there was something behind it. Now you had the release from Julian Assange, right? Yeah. So the WikiLeaks releases that Donald Trump talked about on his campaign trail in 2006. WikiLeaks. He was reading WikiLeaks drops in his rallies back in those days, right? So he's so positive that this was happening, that there's an actual. I think he thinks they're pedophiles. I don't know if he knows they're pedophiles, but if pedophile ring, not he knows they're pedophiles, satanic pedophiles, right? That are into things that you would think were only in the movies. He believes these things to be true, and every time you talk to him, he can give you 50 different reference points, and by the time you're done, you're like, that can't all be coincidence, can it? This can't be all coincidence. And you hear
Bohemian Grove, that whole
Bohemian Grove, exactly. There's so many stories out there that when you tie them together, and they're not stories that just popped up. These are stories that were in the news 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and you just go through the timeline of these events. And the problem is, as I've said before, there are so many narratives that you lose track of all the narratives. And at some point, there's so much information that you just go, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's satanic pedophiles. Maybe there are aliens from outer space that are impregnating our kids. Maybe there's Tim Burchett said that there's an underground ship that's like the size of a small city in the ocean, right? And he said this is the information that he's getting from the intelligence agencies. So, you get all of that stuff. Did we land on the moon? And, these stories become so sensational and so absurd in your mind.
You don't know what's true and what's not. I think that's the whole goal.
I do too. I think that is the ultimate goal, is to flood the information. Let me find it, as a matter of fact. Where's my Barack Obama? I love playing this Barack Obama one because it lays it out so perfect. Where is he? Where you at, Barack?
Barack. Probably on a book tour.
No, I got him here. Here it is. I got it. Let me find it here. So this is Barack Obama. Now listen, I'm going to play this over and over again because every time I play it, it just rings true to a lot of people. They're like, yeah, that's what we're going through. My dad says it to me all the time. I'll show him a clip and he goes, well, I don't know. Is that AI? I don't know.
I know, right?
How do you know what to believe? And this is what he does to me all the time. And I said, I get you, but there is a way to question people that should know the answer. And if they're lying to you, then then you have to take steps to make sure they're telling you the truth, I guess.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is Barack Obama explaining how propaganda works. Check this out.
If you want propaganda to be effective, you don't have to convince people that what you are saying is true. You just have to flood the zone with so much poop. They use a different word, but you have to flood the zone with so much untruth constantly that at some point people don't believe anything.
Is that where we're at?
Yep.
Right? I mean, think of the stories, right? I mean, you can see that people don't know what to believe because you have your own government coming out and saying that we have aliens impregnating our children. This is a story. That's coming from our government that says they are meeting with military officers and the intelligence agencies that are telling them these things. They're showing them videos of these things. They have the evidence of these things. And they have Tim Burchett saying we just have to release it to everybody. And Tim Burchett's the damn gummit, that kind of guy.
I love him.
So yeah, exactly. He's like the guy from Louisiana that I don't really care for, but everybody loves because
John Kennedy. Oh, my wife loves listening to him.
Exactly. He's got all the quips. He's really funny, and he's from Oxford, by the way, one of my club schools.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. See, I know where they all come from school.
Yeah.
Isn't
I mean,
crazy?
I feel like John Kennedy's been in there for a long time. I can't remember how long he's been in Congress, but
they love the act in the Senate. They love it.
Yeah.
And I get it because I get it. He's Josh Hawley's really good when they get going in the Senate. Yeah, they're really good. But we're talking about Tim Burchett because Tim Burchett is the one that says there's aliens among us. He's the one that says that the intelligence agencies and or the military came to him and said there's a craft the size of, I think he said, a small city that is under the ocean and it's way down deep or something like this. And these are the stories that he's getting. So check this out. So I'm going to play two clips. The first one's number 12, if you don't mind, Isaiah.
Yeah.
So this was last night because Jake Jackson was asking us. He said, you got to talk about the 702 because I guess Bob Onder voted.
Oh, man, I saw that.
Yeah, Jake didn't seem too happy about that. I think he sent Bob kind of a what are you doing kind of situation.
Yeah.
He used to work for Bob Onder, congressman from Missouri who's in Washington, D.C., who voted to extend the 702 FISA warrants. This, again, is where you can spy on American citizens without a warrant. This is where you get a FISA judge to say, yeah, you can spy on Rob. I mean, he didn't do anything, but you think he did, and you don't like what he's up to, so go check him out. It's ridiculous.
You're the government. You're cool. You're okay.
It's absolutely unbelievable. It's incredibly unconstitutional. Strips away Fourth Amendment protections. It's just insane. But again, all they got to do is it's for your own good. I mean, it's for your own protection. Right. So people are very excited last night. In the middle of the night, Congress comes out and says they tried to extend the 702 FISA warrants for another, I think it was 3 to 5 years. And Congress pushed back on it. We had several Republicans that voted with the Democrats to keep it from happening. So this is Nick Sordor catching people on the steps of the Capitol as they're coming out and they're asking about the 702 FISA warrants and why. Not necessarily why, but being thankful that they pushed back against it. Here's clip number 12. Check it out.
All right, so you guys have successfully blocked the 5-year extension for FISA tonight. You consider this a win? It's a 30-day, when is it?
2 week.
2 week, okay, even better. All right, and why is it important not to extend FISA? I mean, keep in mind, this is what they used to spy on President Trump's campaign. It's a warrantless spying program. Why do you think that they are continuing to try to force this through?
It's a deep state.
It's a deep state.
It's what it does.
Here's the briefing that we're never going to get because, they try to bring us into all these classified briefings and, tell us how dangerous it is to have warrants to spy on American citizens. The briefing that we're never going to get is, hi, our agency has been given too much power by Congress. We need you to take some of it back.
And today I went in the SCIF and saw 2 top secret documents that showed this program is getting worse, not better.
Okay, so how does this, I just want to relate this a little bit to the average American. How could this affect somebody like, your average Kentuckian, the place that you represent? How could FISA being passed again for 5 years?
If you get on the government's
shit list,
bad list, naughty list, regardless of who is in the White House, right? they could put your name in this, find things about you, and then go recreate another evidence trail to discover that. Because they're never going to say they used FISA to find this stuff out about it. And then they go, you get a random stop, traffic stop. Oh, it's Burchett.
It's Burchett.
Burchett's doing his own proof of life video.
Hey!
Hey man, you know they.
What do you think of FISA?
In a Hollywood studio, we really didn't get
Burchett's, he's got his video going.
He's looking for aliens over there.
Yes.
See, they're making fun of him.
I know, I love it.
Actually,
both
I'm
of you.
going to defer to Burchett here.
I believe in illegal and the kind from outer space.
Okay, how about FISA? Are they spying on aliens with
I don't
FISA?
believe in FISA.
You don't
no,
believe in FISA either?
The only reason aliens don't come down here because there is no intelligent life. And anyway, I'm tired. So,
I love this guy. I love all these people. These guys
we'll
are
see you,
great.
Nick.
So we had some actual, the very few, there are 535
All right, that's
of you
good.
guys. But
Wow.
Very few good ones.
Now I want you to see it from the other angle. So Tim Burchett comes up. Now Tim Burchett, now you're going to see his live that he put out there. So this is the way Tim Burchett was putting it. And he's saying that, I somewhat sarcastically, I think, that we never went to the moon. It was shot in a Hollywood studio, which I've talked about a lot. There's a lot of evidence that might be true that people just think is insane. But when I look at the moon landing now, I look at it and I go, I don't know, that tin can up there with
you saw the movie that they made about how it. Like,
I haven't seen it. I keep wanting to see it. Where can I find it at?
It's who's in it? There's a big actress in it. I can't think. Jennifer Lawrence or maybe Scarlett something. Johansson. Yeah. I think she might be in it. But it's a movie about how they produced the moon landing.
Right.
And so why
is Jim Carrey in that?
Maybe. I've only seen it one time and it was a while ago, so I can't.
Did you like it? Was it good? As something I should watch?
Yeah, I was like, man, are they really telling the story, or is they trying to make this like a sensationalized movie? You know what I mean? Or are they trying to get to the bottom of it? And I mean, it seems exactly what we all think happened, and very, very interesting. You should definitely check it out.
I will check it out. All right, let's go to Tim Burchett. So this is Tim Burchett. So we saw that in that video. Let's see what he was saying when they caught up to him, because this was the live that he put out when FISA was rejected for at least 2 weeks, is the way they put it. So we'll see how that plays out. I would imagine they're going to get what they want. They always do. Here's clip number 9.
Everybody, Tim Burchett, late night. Just getting out, see the crowd. Hey, everybody. Voted down the rule on FISA, which is the secret courts.
It was like dark blackout here.
We tried to negotiate a 6-week, which I was a little leery of. And then the dadgum bill comes out, and it's a 3-year bill. So anyway, it didn't go. So we, as they say, voted down the rule. And there's little Lauren Boebert. Hey, Lauren.
Hi,
Say hey
Burchett.
to everybody.
And then they go, you get a random traffic stop.
And then,
oh, it's Burchett.
anyway,
Burchett.
it's late.
Burchett's
Hey, guys.
proof of
It's
life
Burchett.
video.
Everybody say hey. NASA. Hey, man, they film all that stuff in a Hollywood studio. We really didn't go to the moon. Anyway, folks, I'm tired. So we'll be back next week figuring it out. Thank y'all for seeing me.
There you go.
Yeah. I love.
What do you make of that?
One of the things I love about Tim Burchett is he always ends his videos, thank you all for sending me here. And that's something that I really appreciate about him, because I really feel like he's for the people and representing his people. And he's getting out there. I mean, he's not the best videographer, but he'll just take his phone out and just film himself with the worst angle he could possibly have. But he gets.
I would assume you could help him.
I know, right? I think he doesn't want the help. I think he just wants to be organic and just tell the people straight how it is. And I appreciate that's one thing I appreciate about him.
He's got that down home kind of vibe to him. It's very similar to John.
I don't know how he votes.
Louisiana.
I know obviously sometimes I see his video and see how he votes, and so I don't know his voting record or anything like that necessarily, but I just got a good feeling about
he's
him.
another pro send money to Israel guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, and again, I don't mean to besmirch those people. I'm not looking to make enemies. I just disagree.
Yeah.
I just disagree with that situation. And again,
why should we send money anywhere?
Yeah, we got our own problems, is the way I look at it. But
obviously,
there's more to
said before.
Yeah, obviously, there's more to the story.
If you look at, and everyone can go look this up for themselves, Israel sends us $0. We have never gotten a dollar from Israel. And we send billions of dollars to them. And you can look at a chart where if you go back to World War II into the 40s, when we started sending aid over, it was primarily economic aid. And then you can look at the charts and see how quickly they start crossing. And instead of economic aid, it's military aid until zero economic aid goes to Israel and it's 100% military aid. And so that's just something that when I look at that, like you're saying, you lay out the things there and you see the series of events. I got to think that the whole motivation of sending money to Israel in the first place was always to just send more military aid to them, not the economic issue.
A proxy is my phone.
Oh man, you got some
I think
audio.
it's a proxy. Yeah, this thing. I think it's they're proxies for the American military and intelligence agencies.
Exactly.
That's what I think is going on.
Yes.
Seems, like that's probably the most realistic answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get to this at the end of the show, and I want to talk a little bit about this tomorrow, or on Monday. We got a weekend coming up.
I know. First week done. Can you believe it?
What do you think of the first week?
Oh, amazing.
Are you getting exhausted through 3 hours without a lot of breaks?
It's definitely tiring, but I feel like by the time we get to noon, I'm like, okay, we did it. We're here, and I don't feel tired. I'm drinking. You see me drinking all the coffee I'm drinking here.
Yeah.
That's why I got to take my bathroom breaks. People said you got to drink more water, so you take more.
I know. Why were they
breaks.
saying that? Was my mouth dry or something? Was I stumbling?
No.
over
I
words?
think it's just because I was saying I had to take a bathroom break, so they thought you needed to drink more. But he does drink it when I play the videos. Rob always at least takes a drink when I'm playing the videos. I can see that.
Yes. And I got to tell you, I just want to give you a thank you for the week, man. You have been
my pleasure.
I get more compliments on you being on the show. It's just absolutely fantastic. I love it. I think when people see what we're ultimately going to be able to do, because I want to get into live reports from the field. I want to get into the digital marketing space, because you can get that message out further. People's Lobby Missouri is just very important to me, because I really think that if we get good people involved in it, we're going to knock it down. We're going to be in a good spot.
Oh yeah.
And I believe the message will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. I have to believe that, or I wouldn't put this kind of energy into it. This is not easy.
No,
this is not easy. 3 hours is not easy. Not that I love to do it. I mean, I look forward to seeing you every morning when I come in here and it's about 9:15, 9:30. I'm like, let's get Isaiah rolling up here. So I enjoy doing it, but you got to admit, sitting for 3 hours, having your mind focused, being able to communicate. It's like doing a
challenge.
It is. It's like doing a 3-hour exam every single day,
of course,
with no safety net. So I love it.
And we don't necessarily know. We're not preparing, and we don't get on 3 hours before and say, okay, this is how we're going to line out the show.
You
today.
can't. You can't do that. You need a staff to do that, and it's me and you. And I don't want it to be that way. I don't know why. I've always said, you know what? Let's roll with it. Let's get some topics that we find.
I think we're both fans of organic. Just what's coming up. That's why the whole Tim Burchett thing. It's like, man, he's just getting the information to the people. That's all I want to do, is just get the information to the people.
Correct. I like the vibe of, we don't know where we're going, and when we start, we could go 50 different directions. We got a bunch of stuff that we can talk about, but we could end up talking about who knows what throughout the day. But I enjoy that. I don't know what it is. I guess it's just the organic, off the cuff nature. Just it appeals when I watch it. It's more appealing to me than watching somebody read a script. It just I feel better when I watch it. Let's get to
off the cuff. I did want to just confirm it is a true automatic military draft registration takes effect in December. It's across many states already, but this is going to be nationwide now, is what they're saying.
Really?
Yep. CNN says, though, they said it's not because of the Iran war.
So a nationwide, it's legislation that is passed.
Young
a bill number or anything?
Yeah, young eligible men will be automatically registered for the military draft pool starting in December as a part of a measure tucked into the annual defense policy bill Congress signed into law late last year.
I'd like to see them enforce that.
I know. Men ages 18 to 26 must already register for selective service in case a draft is required. The last time a draft was in effect was February 1973 during the Vietnam War, where they drafted 1.9 million people.
Wow. All right, we mark that for me. I want to talk about that on Monday. We're going to look into that a little bit and find out how that went down. I'm very curious.
Yeah.
I was unaware of that. How could I be unaware of that? That's a big deal.
It's the crazy thing is that they mentioned it was tucked in the bill late last year. This is an article from April 9th from CNN. So just a week ago.
Wow. Very interesting. Okay. I want to play this, and then we'll get into the advertisers. I would say to the advertisers, we're doing this at the end of the show. We're going to eventually get into a rhythm here. I want to ask you this just about the show, Isaiah.
Yeah.
You like the idea of because in the radio, one of the things that people liked about the radio was I would have certain music that I would play all the time.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They kind of knew where they were at in their day based on the music, that kind of deal. We've done this completely free flowing. We've played clips of comedians. We played clips of Dr. Shiva that gave us a little bit of a break. Do you like the idea of saying, okay, hour number 1, we're going to go through this. We're going to take a break here. Hour number 2, and it's a little more regimented. Do you think that's a better way to communicate with the audience, or do you think it's just turn the cameras on? We'll have a couple clips if we need to take a break that are 5 or 6 or 8 minutes long, so we can just chill for a minute and watch it and not speak. Or do you think it is better to really have this thing more regimented? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer now, but
let's ask the audience. You know, if you like it more regimented, where we're going to take breaks, put the number 1 in the chat. And if you like the free flow that we're doing, where we take breaks as we want or as needed, and we're just going as long as we need, put 2 in the chat. So 1, if you want, or want comments later. If you're watching this later, we'll go back and look at the comments. Put 1 if you want us to be more regimented, like the old radio days. I know some people were asking for that, but then we also have people on the other side. Just put 2 in there, the number 2 in there if you want us to be more free flow, because other people have also said that they like you being unchained, is what I like to say it.
Yeah.
And
I haven't got crazy yet because there hasn't been a lot of crazy stuff going on.
You don't have to.
That
stop
tax bill
after a minute.
passes, and I see that that's a bunch. Then I'm going to get nasty again, because now you're hurting people. That you're hurting the citizens of Missouri, and you got to get loud about that. You can't play patty cake with people that are stealing from you. You have to get a little bit loud every now and again. So that's the way I look at that situation.
Coming in the chat right now. So 2s. So people are liking the free flow with the non-regimented breaks.
Right on. All right. Let's do.
We are for the people actually here.
Absolutely. 100%. We just want to make everybody happy. That's all. Try to make everybody happy. Let's do clip number 6. Now, if people they don't know this Nick Fuentes guy, I want you to get a sense of him. Now, Nick Fuentes, when he first came out, it was a cuss word on every other thing. It was the Jews, the Jews, the Jews, the Jews. I love Hitler. He was saying all these kind of outrageous things. I believe very similar to Donald Trump. Say outrageous things, capture people's attention.
Oh yeah,
but
that's what he talked about on Pierce Morgan when he was on there. He said, "Yeah, Pierce, I'm doing this it's sensationalism. You know, I'm an entertainer."
Right. And he's good at it. He really is, because you, as you said, I think all young people, all young white kids for sure, are paying attention to Nick Fuentes. Is that true?
Yeah. I mean, not just white kids. I can tell you that for sure. 100%. There's Indian, Black, Hispanic, all across the board.
Really? So he's getting that big, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yes. 100%. That's what people underestimate about him, is they think, oh, he's just this far right lunatic, this white nationalist. That's where they kind of the media has pushed him into that, group of people, I guess you could say. Yeah. But when you really sit down with him and you go through his true views, he doesn't hate Jewish people. He has Jewish friends, right? And he doesn't hate Black people. He might have some views that people might disagree with. He has some interesting views about women and that they don't need to be voting and things like that. But hey, people are entitled to their views, and this is still America. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one of his beliefs. And some people believe that.
I get it. I get it.
And hey, again, that's why I said people are entitled to their beliefs. And I think where we've gone wrong with America is saying, I have to agree with everything this person I'm watching says. I have to be 100% aligned, or I'm turning it off. And so
I can't live in that space.
No.
I've never been that way. There are things that will make me not want to hang with you anymore, right? Certain things I agree to disagree, but your opinion is so offensive to me that I really don't want to hang with you anymore. But I don't hate you. If you're on fire, I'll get the water. You know what I mean? That kind of deal. But for the most part, I think the people that come across me in my life are reasonable people.
Mm-hmm.
I think where I get where I make a butthole of myself, if you will, is when I think when I think politicians or people in power are abusing power. I don't like bullies. I don't like abusing power. I don't like, I just don't like it. I never did. I didn't like it when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I made friends with everybody. We talked about that on Monday. I like to be friends with everybody. I didn't have, if they were nice to me, I had no problem with them, and I considered them friends. And, I was an athlete, but there were kids that were smoking pot and doing all kinds of stuff. I was friends with those kids too. I was friends with the people that dressed up in all black and wore the black lipstick. I like some of those people too. I could find common ground with people, right?
Yeah.
It is when people abuse power that I get, that's what works me up. That's what gets me. When I see people abusing power, there's something that just annoys me to where I can get moved from A to Z very quickly, temperamentally. And I don't know what it is. My dad, I don't know if my dad is listening, but when my dad got sober, my dad, very temperamental, just like me. I think my son's a little bit that way, where he's better than I was. So it's subsiding through generation.
Yeah,
it is. My dad was crazy when he got upset. Now, I'm not quite as bad as him, but I'm still there, and my son's still there, but not nearly as bad as me. So it's kind of filtering through the generation that we're a little bit more even-handed, if you will.
Yeah. Yep.
But I think my father's the same way as I am, because when he was getting sober, he got himself into a couple situations where he lost his temper and it created problems for him.
Yep.
So he went to his AA sponsor, who is like a second father to him. And he tells me the story all the time. He said, he was telling him the story of how he reacted in this particular situation where he lost his temper. And my dad is very, especially when he was younger, very intimidating when he got angry, because he's got the voice like me that's loud, and you can kind of see the eyes going in a direction. You're like, oh my God, this guy is really serious about it, And he said that the sponsor said to him, so Mike, I guess what I'm learning from you is nobody F's with Mike Carter. And my dad backed up and he thought about that for a second, and he goes, and that is the way it was. I mean, I'm telling you, it's not somebody you want to mess with too terribly much. And it made him think, is my pride and my ego getting in the way of having a gentlemanly conversation when somebody bothers me? And when he told me that story, because you learn from your parents, right?
Of course.
I started thinking about that. That is the way I am. That's the way I am, and I don't want to be that way. That's a flaw in my personality that I have to work on. And as I get a little bit older, I think I'm getting better. I think the last blow up that I had was during COVID, when some young kid called me gross for having my mask underneath my nose. And,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that didn't work out good. That was about a 15-minute blowing up in the middle of a Forever 21 at West County Mall.
Yeah. Well, it probably had happened to you too many times already, and
hit me at the wrong time and aggravated me to no end, and I wanted to embarrass him, and I'm sure I embarrassed myself, but I didn't mind embarrassing myself. I wanted to embarrass him, which I think worked out perfectly nice in that particular
situation. I'm the same way. That's how I've gone into many jobs before where I'm in some type of high level role. And I noticed in the corporate world, people want to appease people. They want to try to move up. And I was someone who was just so good at my job that I didn't have to appease people, because I was someone who was good at my job, and I could show I knew what I was talking about, and that I'm a value to your organization.
I could see that.
And so I would be in big meetings with people, and I'd be like, what are you talking about? No, that's not how it is. And I'd lay it out, and people would be silent. Like you could hear a pen drop, and the boss would be like, well, I didn't think about that. That's a great point, Isaiah. And I found I've gotten on so many good sides with CEOs, and bosses that I've had, because I stood up to them and because I pushed back. Even that, there's a situation, I don't want to get into details but an elected official here, I got into a little tiff with about a state statute that I ended up being correct about, and I find that when you stand on your beliefs and you stand up for what you believe is true, people respect that. And I can 100% relate with everything that you're saying there, because I think that's why we got into sales.
I do, and I think that's why we get along.
Yeah,
I think we both like people. We want to do the right thing. We needed each other, right? We did. I mean, like I said, right from the very beginning, we joke about it now. You're the yin to my yang. Everything that I needed, and that's why I always say, when people don't believe in God, I don't get it. I'm sitting here in a situation where I just left my job. Right, it wasn't my job. I didn't work for Rick and Tracy, but they created the platform where I made my living.
Yep.
And I just quit on I'm not gonna this is not for me, right? This is they have to. I'm hurting them. They're hurting me. We need to love each other and move in another direction, and that's the way it had to go down. But it was
because you care about them.
Because exactly, that's the whole thing. I said that to him right afterwards. I left him a long message, and I said, "I'm not upset with you. I'm definitely not upset with you and Rick. I appreciate the opportunities you've created for me, and I'm forever grateful for that. I'm not mad at you. This was a situation where it was not working for them, was not working for me. Although I think I brought a big audience to the station. I firmly, I kind of know that. I believe that.
Yep.
But if it doesn't pay the bills, then, as I tried to explain to everybody, got really mad at them. If you can't pay the bills, nobody gets to speak.
Yeah.
You have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Right. It's very expensive to run a radio organization. And I respect that. I get when people risk their capital especially when you risk your capital in a different venture, right? They're coming from the real estate business to create a radio business. You can't
Takes
even
a lot of money
imagine.
just to get on the air.
Can't imagine the work they put into it. I mean, they're going out to towers when they go down and sweating in the middle of the heat and talking to advertising. They're doing all kinds of different things to keep their business alive. And I think they felt that I was I think they like me. I think they care about me. I think they just looked at it and said, Rob, you got to calm down. You got to stay in here because I mean, we're not even going to be able to put you on anymore. We're not going to be able to keep our lights on if you don't knock it off. And I got it. Right. And I said, okay, this is where we have to part ways and we'll move on. But it's not things are not always as they seem. I was watching the rumors go down about that. And I thought, man, everybody's got this thing all mixed up. This is not, I don't see it through that lens, but I was watching all the rumors and, I'd check onto they have an app where people communicate. I was checking on the app and I didn't want to respond to any of it, but I'm watching people, they're advocating for me. And then, people are pushing back that I'm a quitter and a nut job. And I had a meltdown and all this other stuff. And I thought it's amazing how rumors begin to spread. And, people will believe that if they didn't come over to this show, right? They never get to hear my response.
Why did the show keep going on?
And maybe that's just the way the world is supposed to be. All right. We were into Nick Fuentes. I want to play this.
Yes.
I want to play this before
let's do it.
We're already over time.
Yeah. Can you believe it? It's awesome.
Should we start for tomorrow?
Let's tease it. Let's play it. And then we'll kick it off on Monday.
So what Nick Fuentes
because
is
I think
talking
it's
about,
important with the JD Vance situation.
Yeah, JD Vance is the reason I want to talk about it. Is I think that people will become more politically sophisticated and understand where things are going when they start to understand who is funding the people that you're watching.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So how did JD Vance go from Hillbilly Elegy on Netflix to a senator to the vice president of the United States? You have to understand those are not happenstance things. It just flat out does not work like that. Somebody groomed this guy to get into that position. Who was behind it? Well, we now know it was Peter Thiel.
Yep.
Peter Thiel also spoke at the 2016 GOP convention on behalf of Donald Trump. Well, who's Peter Thiel? Peter Thiel is behind a company called Palantir. Palantir is an offshoot of the CIA and was funded by, I believe it was funded by In-Q-Tel, 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 which is the investment arm of the CIA.
Yep.
So if the CIA is funding Donald Trump and if the CIA is funding JD Vance, then odds are you're watching another CIA operation. And what does the CIA do? They lie and they cheat and they manipulate by their own admission. I think it was
putting their people in power.
That's what they do. They put their people in power so that they can create events around the world that everybody has to react to. They create the narratives. They create the problems that everybody has to react to. And I know nobody wants to hear that. And nobody wants to believe that. And maybe Donald Trump is a triple or quadruple agent. It's all very possible. But you have to look at where people get their funding to get into these positions of power because it takes
follow the money,
hundreds of millions of dollars to make it happen. Right. And somebody's got to give you that money. And generally speaking, I think you would agree with me, Isaiah. Nobody gives you $100 million or $230 or $250 million unless they want something in return. They don't go,
oh, yeah.
You know what? You are so sweet. I love you. Honey, get my checkbook. Write him a check for $250 million. That's generally not how it works. Right?
Come on, Miriam. We need a check.
Right. It's usually not how it works. So we have to at least be aware of it and discuss it. And then we'll come to our own conclusions. And not everybody will come to the same conclusion. I think that's the way we want the show to be. We want you to think for yourself. You can chastise me, you can hate me, you can be mad at me, but so long as you're interested, I love you. How about that? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the
let's watch it. We'll wrap it up with this.
JD Vance actually come from? First of all, he was never really poor. He actually came from a relatively upper middle class background. He did come from a broken home, but they were relatively well-to-do. His name isn't even JD Vance. That's not his birth name. His birth name,
Vivek.
Yeah, his name is Vivek. But he goes through a series of different names. He's JD Hamill for some years. Only after he writes the book does he become Vance. And even before he ever met Peter Thiel, he actually had a different mentor. He comes out of the U.S. Marine Corps, where, by the way, he was a journalist there.
Right.
I think everyone thinks when you're a Marine, you're shooting guns and running missions.
I knew that. It's not like Tim Walz. It's not truly stolen valor. But but I knew that he wasn't combat.
Right, like Pete Buttigieg or others. Like he's in a non-combat role. He's writing press releases for the military, which is sort of interesting. He goes to Yale, and Yale, for those that don't know, is this is like a pretty spooked up organization. The CIA does a lot of recruiting at Yale. You have secret societies like Skull and Bones. You get the Bush family coming out of Yale, a lot of American royalty. And it's when Vance is leaving the Marines and entering Yale that he starts writing for a website run by David Frum. David Frum is a Jewish neocon, speechwriter for George W. Bush, and he's as bad as it gets. Like, he's on the same level as a Bill Kristol. He's on the same level as any other rhino, pro-war, establishment Republican, literally a Bush alum. And Vance is writing for Frum's website. And at this time, he's mid-20s. He has no political career. He's applying for school. And he's writing articles in defense of the war in Iraq. He's writing articles in favor of environmentalism and these kinds of things. And Frum is his mentor. Later on, Frum writes this big piece, which you can find in The Atlantic, after Vance became a Trump supporter, and it's a retrospective. And Frum talks about his time mentoring Vance. And he believed, even when Vance was a nobody, we're talking like the early 2010s, when Vance isn't even at Yale yet, Frum is writing about Vance like he's going to be the future president, which is really weird because this is just some random guy who was writing press releases in the military, some random from Ohio, writing blog posts that are getting no traction. This is before he wrote the book. And Frum is saying about Vance at the time, this guy is going to be the future Republican president. And in particular, he will deliver the rabble-rouser Tea Partiers back into the hands of the moderate Republican establishment.
Wow.
He says that because there's this crisis where you have the Tea Party and Sarah Palin, and the Republican base is like xenophobic, Islamophobic. Like they are what they are. They are, the establishment of the GOP is like William F. Buckley. They're very elitist. They're very wealthy. They represent the corporate interest. The base is populist. They're extremely conservative. Culturally, in terms of their religion, economically, they're populist. And so Frum, as a Bush alumnus, is saying Vance is going to be the guy. He's not only going to be the president one day as a Republican, but he's going to lead as a millennial the kind of rabble-rouser, burn-it-all-down Republicans back into like a moderate conservatism that is environmentally conscious, that is like in favor of America being the policeman of the world, this kind of stuff. Why? David Frum.
How did he see that?
Well, he says, and this is the thing that sticks out in my mind. He says Vance's biographical credibility is what will deliver them. What's biographical credibility? It's a story.
Because so almost like selected. So it's like what I said is like, well, this is concerning Peter Thiel, the tech bros. This is concerning your son is Vivek, your wife is Hindu. But there's one hopeful thing. But what you're saying is the one hopeful thing is not an accident. He was selected because of it.
Yes. Because that story, and think of it, what was the story of Obama, Trump? The story is of the white working class.
Wow.
Interesting, right?
Yeah, Joel Webbin, I love him. That he's a pastor, the guy who's interviewing him. I don't know if you've listened to his stuff.
I didn't know that's who it was.
Yeah, Joel Webbin. He's a great pastor. He's a Reformed theologian, and so they have his own show where they talk about the Bible and things like that. But he's been hitting the nail on the head lately.
I got to say that I thought he was right on the money with everything he said. I just got to be honest. Nick Fuentes in that particular clip is dead on the money. David Frum, if people don't know, he's Yale and Harvard. This is my club schools. I'll say it one more time. Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, Georgetown, the London School of Economics. John Hopkins, if you get into medical things like COVID, all the people who are on your TV screens were at John Hopkins. And London School of Economics in Oxford. That's where the power structure is. Now, there might be some more at Stanford now. It might be beginning to migrate into other schools. But over the last 50 years, if you look at historically who runs the show, they all come from those schools. And they all, the CIA and the intelligence agencies and the think tanks, they recruit from those schools. So when you see a bunch of those schools in collaboration with one another, both on the media and then the politicians and then the attorneys, and you see all these people starting to work into the same game together, it's exactly like Dr. Shiva said. They know what they want. They know who they are. They know what's going on. They're all in the same game together, even when it feels like they are at odds and they hate each other and they're screaming at each other. It's just theater.
I thought it was crazy too that in the military, JD Vance is writing press releases for the military. That sounds like the most CIA job that you could have is, constructing the narrative for the military to put that propaganda out there. Because, I mean, if we just look at what's going on with the information right now with the Iran war, oh, they got all their rockets gone. We destroyed all the rockets. Boom. 2 of our jets get shot down, you know?
Yeah.
And so,
the art of deception. That's what the CIA says. That's what Mossad says.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're coming from that world and you like everything that somebody says, odds are it's when it's too good to be true. Right.
Yeah.
It's like we used to tell my daughters when they were growing up, I said, you know, if somebody is hanging on every word and it just feels like it's not uncomfortable because they're trying to, you know, when you get of age, they're trying to, you know what I'm saying, right? Be very careful because people can pretend to. I think it was Chris Rock.
Things. Yeah.
Yeah. He said when you're dating somebody, you just meet their representative. When you marry him, you know who that person is. You're dating their representative, meaning they're putting on a show. And you know, a lot of these people can put on a show and sweet talk you, and they have a spin for everything that you say. And sometimes the one you love the most because they say the things you like, as I like to say, they like to tickle you right where you like to be tickled.
Yep.
When you need them, they don't show up.
What do you say? They whisper sweet nothings in your ear, right? That's what they're doing.
That's right. That's right. All right. Where do we want to start today? Which advertiser do you want to start with today?
Let's do let's reverse it. Let's start with Grace Halling today.
All right. Let me get Grace Halling up on the screen. I haven't talked to Gary in a couple days.
Let's see here. Get this up here. I did see people said that they need you interacting with the chat more. So
okay,
my bad. So they need you to
I think
you used to do it in the app so much.
I think I'm not sure how to respond.
Yeah, that's
so
okay.
I'll work with that. That's fine.
Just respond on the stream. You know, that's one of the nice things is that you can read them and you can respond live. Here we go. GraceHalling.com.
GraceHalling.com. Gary Schneider, my man. GraceHalling.com. GraceHalling.com for all things trash, for all things rubbish. GraceHalling.com, as he likes to say. But for the grace of God, he would not have such a thriving business. Everybody knows Gary Schneider around the St. Charles County area. He does a lot of great things for people. Outstanding customer service, competitive pricing, whether you be commercial or residential, all things trash, whether it be bulk pickups. If you're a residential customer, bulk pickups, recyclables, yard waste. Always think GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com. And if you're on the commercial side, remember they have 2, 4, 6, and 8 yard dumpsters. They're just great people. So if you want to do business and you want to do it with great people, I would suggest you give our good friends at Grace Halling a call. GraceHalling.com, GraceHalling.com, right there on the screen, GraceHalling.com. All right.
Valvoline Express.
Yeah, we are working perfectly backwards. I got these in order now. All right. That is
Tony
Clark. Tony Clark, my man, Tony Clark. And if you want to check out the locations, check out Valvoline-expresscare.com. Been a big supporter from jump. As soon as he came to the studio and said, Rob, I want to work with you. I said, all right, let me go to your location. I went. Absolutely fantastic. Everything he described is exactly what went down. Very nice people. He said, I wanted people to be friendly. I don't want them aggravating. You know how it is when you go to get an oil change. You know what I'm saying, Isaiah, right?
Oh, yeah.
You go in and they come out and they've got, this is wrong and this is wrong. And
their checklist.
You went in for a $50 or $60 oil change and you're $300 into it. And it just irritates people. I know it used to irritate me. So when he said it, I go, I know exactly what you're talking about. 15 minutes from bay to on your way, which means you get in, you get out quickly. Valvoline-Expresscare, Valvoline-Expresscare.com if you want to check them out. No appointments, no sales pressure, all Valvoline branded products. If you want to do business with them, his locations include Warrenton, Missouri, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, St. Peter's Parkway, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lemay Ferry Road. Valvoline Express Care, 15 minutes from bay to on your way.
Rick Babbitt's Financial.
Rick Babbitt's made us a bunch of money yesterday. Yeah, Rick Babbitt's made us a bunch of money yesterday, so I have to give him a shout out. So he called my wife, said it's time to move your money around, and we made money again today with him. This guy's he's a soothsayer when it comes to the market. I'm not sure what he's doing there, but he says he's got he understands how to play the algorithms. He can read the trends, and he's been I can only say what he's done for me. He's been dead on the money for me. If my wife loses a nickel, somebody's going to be in trouble. And we've been making a lot of money. She's very happy with Rick Babbitt's. I got to tell you, Carrington Financial, yourcaringadvisor.com. And all I want to tell people, if you're going to invest in the market, or if you've got money to save, if you're nearing retirement, just get a second, get a third, get a fourth opinion, but get Rick Babbitt's opinion. He understands the politics of the day. He understands where things are going because politics shapes the economy, and he has a vast understanding of both. You can reach out to him at 671-0525. Don't wait. I mean, we waited. If I would, to be honest with you, if I would have gotten with Rick Babitz the day that I met him, I'd have $50,000 more in my 401k, my wife's 401k. That's true. I'm being for real. When I called him and I said, hey, I said the stock market, this is when the stock market started to go down. He goes, why didn't you call me? I would have told you. He goes, hey, you got it all messed up, and he fixed it for us. He's patient. He understands what's going on. Financial planning expert, biblical principles with your money. Biblical principles with your money. Rick Babitz, 314-671-0525. Your caring advisor.com.
Rocket Careers.
Rocket, baby. Now, this is my good friend Mitch. I always say I've known him since we were kids. Just one of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet. He's the one that does not like this Pizzagate story. He thinks there's way more to it. He wants more attention put on it. And I agree with him 100%. There's something to that story that we didn't get to the bottom of, but we keep fighting. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com, RocketCareers.com. If you are a small to medium-sized business, you're an employer, and HR may not be getting the job done, or maybe you just don't have enough money to have an HR department, but you got to find an important position within your company, lean on RocketCareers.com. They do all the vetting. They know this business they've been at it forever. They know how to put the right person in the right position, and you'll gain a friend when you're doing it. You'll enjoy Mitch. You'll enjoy his personality. He's a great guy. RocketCareers.com, RockitCareers.com. careers.com. And again, if you hate your job, if you're out of work and you hate your job, or you hate your job and you're going to be out of work, this guy will help you. They'll get your resume ready for you. They'll give you the elevator pitch. They'll teach you how to get the job to help launch a new career. RocketCareers.com, RockitCareers.com, careers.com, 636-778-2419, RocketCareers.com.
Moe's Pizza.
Moe's. All right, Moe's. Well, it's time for lunch, so I am craving some Moe's pizza. That sounds really, every time. Are there certain foods that you can eat every day?
Yeah, I think pizza's one of them.
Pizza, anything else? There's a few things that I crave.
Oh man, pizza and burgers. Man, I could eat a burger every day.
I'm not a big I like burgers, but I don't crave them. Man. I crave spaghetti. I crave chips and salsa. I crave ice cream.
Oh yeah, ice cream.
And I crave ice cream, pizza, spaghetti, chips and salsa. That's pretty much.
You can almost get all of that at Moe's.
Yeah, those are the things I crave for the most part, and then Moe's takes care of me.
Yeah.
Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri. They're a landmark out in Washington, Missouri. So if you've ever been out to Washington or you get into the area, jump in, meet Mike Johns and his wife. They're fantastic people. They do everything they possibly can to make this world a better place. They open up their arms to me when I have meetings going on there. They're wonderful. They're at the corner.
They let my daughter run crazy around the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, you can see him, and he's just a wonderful guy. Corner of Grand and 5th Street in Washington, Missouri. As he told me, he said, Rob, just remember, God owns the place. I just work here. Make sure people know that. And again, if you have any kind of events, this is kind of where they thrive. This is where the business is important to them. It's all important, but I'm just saying, if you have any kind of get together, they love to see faces. They love families to come in. They love to share their hospitality with the community. Banquet space available for birthday parties, anniversaries, political meetings, Bible studies, you name it. If you have some kind of gathering and you're in that area, or you just want to participate in Moe's Pizza, get out to Washington, Missouri, and take care of my man, Mike Johns, and Brenda, his lovely and talented wife. Moe's Pizza. Get there. All right. And then last but not least, my man, Everett Jones. Didn't see him today. He must have been out working today. So Everett Jones, this is joneswater.com. I said it yesterday, and I mean it. I have not met anybody that was unhappy with Everett. He has people that come out because they hear me on the station. I always say that the first thing you have to get when you get a new home, the one thing you got to remember is that your air and your water it's crucial to being healthy. If you don't want to spend all the money with the doctors and the medications and the ointments and the lotions and everything, always remember that the first thing to a happy, healthy home is clean air and clean water. He'll provide both for you, whether it be business or residential. joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. His tagline is, you'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter, meaning it's going to get into your body and now you got to filter it out, which is going to make you sick and uncomfortable. You're not going to sleep as well. You're just not going to feel well if you're not drinking clean water and breathing fresh air. joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. If you want to do business with Everett, St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. And if you go to the dark side, Isaiah, if you go to the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. And we have several more advertisers that we're talking to. I think I've made my mind up on one just through a conversation. He sent me some information about his business. He sounds like he's right up our alley, and we'll talk to him today and get it all settled up. So I think that's it. We got anything else?
No, that's it. We'll people are asking about data centers. They want us to talk more about the data centers. And I will say we're working right now on getting an interview lined up. I won't say who, just in case it doesn't work out, but for the live event at Moe's, we're trying to get someone there to talk about the data centers. And so that's something that we're working on, but we'll talk about more about the data centers
and I would ask people, what do you like to hear about? We stay on topical news and things that are interesting to me, but if there's something that you think, hey, you're missing the boat here, this is a really big story, whether it be local, whether it be it could be at the
national or
level,
international.
it could be international. It doesn't matter to me. So if it's interesting and it's something that affects people's lives and you want me to dig into it and give you some information, maybe you can give some to us. I'm always willing to do that because listen, the show, we're free now. We're free to do whatever we want to do. So if you guys want to talk about something that might be off the menu, things that are interesting you, like even the flat earth,
I know.
I think he was in the chat. This guy's
awesome.
kind of like known across the country.
Great.
And on the first day, he was listening into our show and he said, I'm pretty sure that he was.
I saw that. I remember that. I remember someone saying something about the flat earth.
Yeah, trying to communicate.
We were talking about the conspiracies.
Hey, listen,
I thought it was sarcastic.
I did too.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, but it was real. Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing that. Would you? Would you be interested to hear what he has to say?
I got friends that I have one friend. He's like, I don't think it's flat, but man, all these videos I watch really are convincing me.
I guess if we have him on, I think this is the deal: is you try to trick him with information, right? So you're going to go through and say, well, if the Earth is flat, then why is this? Why is that? And apparently, for people that love his show, he's got an answer to everything. So maybe what I'll do is I'll get somebody who says that's. I'll get my buddy Max if he'll come on. Max is a genius. I think he thinks this is round. And I'll just say, Max, come in, and I want you to refute, because Max, be hard to mess with Max. Max knows everything. Max can explain how a hurricane starts.
Oh gosh,
from a particle in the wind, and he'll tell you how it goes from there, and he can do it right off the top of his head, like he's been a meteorologist his whole life. I said, how do you know that? He goes, I just studied it for a little bit, and now it makes sense.
Yeah,
that's how he rolls. So if we get him to talk to Flat Earth Dave, is that what his name is?
I think that's what it is. Yeah, Flat Earth Dave.
Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll just kind of poke holes in his theories and see what the audience thinks of it.
Yeah, and people are asking about the MMTLP. I hope I'm saying that right. The MMTLP situation too, and short selling. So that's coming soon.
That's coming as well. So I just, for the MMTL people that were listening in today. So we have both sides of the argument. We're going to hash that out. We're not giving up on getting a hold of your public officials and the media. I mean, ultimately, when we get big enough, we'll put pressure on the media, right? Because if the politicians won't do anything, the big time media can put pressure on them. And then you can put pressure on the media for not putting pressure on the politicians. It just starts with pressure. Everything, everybody cracks under pressure. If you've ever played a sport, what do you want to do to the other side? You want to put enough pressure on them.
Yes.
And then you want to stay centered and grounded with your heart beating calmly. But you want to put pressure on the other side. We're going to put so much pressure on them. It's going to be like a lion chasing down a rabbit. These people are going to go, oh my God, these people are for real. That's how it works. That's how we're going to make it happen. All right.
We got to wrap up. We got to call at 12:30. If you remember,
have a great day, everybody. We'll see you. Thanks, Isaiah.
Absolutely.
We'll see you Monday morning. Don't forget 9 a.m. on the Robb Carter Show. If you're having any problem finding us, just reach out to us through many different methods. We'll give everything out to you. And if you see a breakdown on X or wherever, if it starts to break down, just let us know immediately and we'll fix it. Deal?
And on Facebook, we won't be going live until I think like 1 or 2 minutes before the show, just so we don't get taken down from Facebook. That's been working well for us. So you'll see the show on Facebook around right at 9 a.m. Central Time versus we go live about 10 minutes earlier on all the other platforms, but we are still on Facebook. I know people were asking about that. It's just because we have to go live a little bit later so we don't get kicked off the platform. I don't know why they don't like it, but that's the way it has to work,
We'll figure it out one way or another. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning. I keep doing that.
I know, tomorrow morning.
I'm not tomorrow morning. It's Monday morning.
Have
a great day, everybody. We'll see you Monday morning on the Robb Carter Show. Have a great weekend.